Too chub on me.
It was 17.5 when I was selling them pies. Ask me no questions and I'll tell you no lies.
That's right.
You Lied to Me Lush podcast, episode 8, you feel me? And we had to bring a real legendary figure in the industry from the streets of Los Angeles to the underbellies of the industry in Atlanta and beyond.
Yeah.
We got Poondaga!
What's up? What's up, Lush?
Come on,
What's
man.
happening, man?
Come on.
Happy to be here, brother. Happy to be here, man.
It's a treat when real players meet, man.
Yes,
You
it
feel me?
is. It is. It's always a treat, man. You know, it's really good when you deal with people that's really of the inbred of the culture. There's a lot of people that's in the culture, but when you do research, when you actually can rap, when you actually serve people in battles, I mean that's real authentic. You know what I'm saying? So salute to you too.
Man, coming from you and somebody that's been carrying and waving this hip hop flag for many moons, that means a lot. You a couple years younger than hip hop, but you damn near the same age.
Well, actually, I think I was born in '74, so hip hop I think started in
year.
'75. So
Yeah.
I probably was like a year, but I was actually, because I was born on the East Coast, and I moved to LA like at 3 or 4. So, right to Slauson and Crenshaw. So
Okay, so you grew up in the 70s and 80s in South Central LA
yes, sir.
in the Crenshaw district.
Yep.
What was that like back then?
It was serious, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody knows, or like I say now, like right now, everybody's outside, but everybody's more than outside because when you get up in the morning, you walk down the street, it's gonna be like 25, 30 people. You know what I'm saying? So interaction was a whole lot more. So if a person said they was doing something or they was from somewhere or something, you was gonna be engaging with a lot of different people on a fast realm. And if you walked around the city, especially if you walked down Crenshaw, you had to be a real one to walk down Crenshaw in the 70s and 80s because that wasn't really safe.
Right. At all. And so you being born in 75, that's
74.
74. That's 5 years after the formation of the Crips, 1969.
Right.
And where you grew up over there in that district, that is a very legendary blue neighborhood.
Definitely.
What was your first memory of the Crips existing?
Shoot. When I used to see the homeboy Slim, I used to walk to elementary school, rest in peace, Big Slim from 60s. He used to be doing like Tai Chi in the yard. So he was like 6'3", 6'4" long, but he doing it slow. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you see the old
Yeah,
ladies
yeah,
do
yeah,
it
yeah.
in the yard. So this is like I say, late 70s, early 80s, and this is how he started working out. So when I'm going to school, he's up in the morning. So as years progress, you start seeing different homies, family members, different people that started joining in with him. And that kind of embellished the whole, if you know anything about just that area in the 60s, a lot of dudes know karate and, you know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
get with the hands and feet. That kind of started that whole thing.
That's why
you
there's
know
a
what I
lot
mean?
of OGs named Sensei and things like that. Yeah.
Definitely, for sure. So that whole being is very serious. So to me, that was something unique because that wasn't just somebody beating you up. That's an art. You know
Right,
what I'm saying? And
right.
karate was big back then. Bruce Lee's on Saturday movies. So
Karate Kid.
yeah, but even before
before
Karate
that.
Kid, Bruce Lee on Saturday, Channel 5, like you gonna watch that for like about 3-4 hours before you even come outside.
Right.
And then you gonna try to be doing moves. So when you see a big homie that's doing it, he's tall and lean and you know what I'm saying? It looked like Superman, you know what I mean? So you like, I wanna learn, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's very engaging, especially for a young kid in the inner city. Everybody wants to, have that bravado. You know what I'm saying? They want to be seen, want to be heard, and want to be, let people know that they're not no punk or they're not, they ain't weak. You feel me? So that was
sense.
really something serious, and something else that was really crazy because I can remember somebody talking to me about like what was my whole like what did I want to do when I elementary school. Something that was very key to me besides playing football was trying to be the king of the school. Do you remember that?
Oh
When people
yeah,
used to-
of course.
But you would literally like try to have 25 or 30 fights in a year just so you could show people you could fight. So that was different growing up in LA, because I don't think other people in other coasts really had, dealt with stuff like that.
They're not as fade tested.
Nah, no way, not even.
Especially because that's like an era before. Now, I'm not saying there wasn't gunplay at that time, but that was when people would bring out a gun. It was more serious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got into a lot of fights and scuffles and stabs. You know what I'm saying? The legendary story about the leather jacket. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like those were fights and stabbing and skirmishes and stuff like that. That's how stuff would really get to kicking. But when the guns came out, that's when it was really serious. You know what I'm saying? So.
Now, you said that you were essentially the first generation that grew up under the politics.
Yeah,
that
we
was born.
Yes, I want to say the kids maybe 73, 74, and 75. I want to say we were probably the politic era, meaning that we were from a neighborhood, but by us wanting to be able to venture out, we kind of established ourselves a clique or a crew. And this is where other different cliques and crews were in different neighborhoods where there were Crips and Bloods. You know what I'm saying? From people like, sex jerks and perverts and MVPs, EWF, DGF, you know what I'm saying? All these different cliques.
It's funny because I know a lot of homies from those.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but they all still were from their neighborhood, but this was a way for them to be able to move around the city, go to parties, you know what I'm saying, hang out and kind of be in your own funk, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the stuff that happened pre-us, before we was even outside, was you engaging with people with some stuff that happened before you was even, you know what I'm saying, popping. So a lot of times people would get caught up in that. So what a lot of people in our era did to start, they were still from their hood, but they still had their immediate homeboys that they knew in that age bracket, and that's what they were. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they move around. And what I think it really did is that it created and showed people that, because these cliques and crews didn't just have all Crips or didn't just have all Bloods. They had mixtures. You know what I'm saying? So you'll get people that played in the football team or played with K&E Bulls, you know what I'm saying, the traveling team, or ran for the Jets or whatever. These were all kids that hung out together, so they wasn't going to be just like, I ain't hanging with you because you from the jungle, or I ain't hanging with you because you from over, you know what I mean?
Right.
They started having that camaraderie on their own, you know what I mean?
Right, and it's based on who you actually spending time with, not necessarily what neighborhood you actually grew up in.
Right. And a lot of these, a lot of these people that started those, they really started bandwidth, and it almost kind of started I don't want to say like a boys club or Elks Lodge, or you know what I'm saying, because a lot of these guys still kicking now. You have like association like Jack and Jill's.
Right.
I know some dudes that's been hanging for years, and they from sex jerk, and they still meet up year after year and do, you know what I'm saying? So I think it turns as people get older, because I'm 50 now, so a lot of my friends are that age. Everything is not the same, so you can still be a part of something, but you're not definitely gang banging or active. It's just you being a part of your nostalgia or part of your friendship or whatever it was. And that's how a lot of people move around now. Like, I think last year I went to maybe 5 or 6 parties of my friend that was 50, and I probably seen all of LA in that same era of time I was just talking about, since 74, 75, from the east side, Compton, Long Beach, because everybody interchanged with everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if you played athletics.
100%. The Pop Warner high school football, that's going to...
And I played at Baldwin, so I played at Baldwin since I was maybe 5 or 6. So playing at Baldwin...
Which is crazy because
in the jungles.
That's the part right over there on Adams and La Cienega.
No, Obama.
Yeah, Adams.
It used to be Rodeo.
Correct, Rodeo.
You know what I'm saying? It's like Rodeo in between La Brea and La Cienega. So that's clearly the jungles, and the jungles offset. So the guys that I would go over there
Baldwin
with,
Hills.
Yeah, all that. And that's when the movie theater was still there.
Yeah.
I don't think did you know that?
Nah.
So the jungles had a movie theater on La Brea, right before you go up the little ramp to, when you go up La Brea to go into.
Not a Magic Johnson.
It wasn't a Magic Johnson. It was just the Baldwin movie theater.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Then I think Magic bought it.
Yeah.
And then he moved it to over there.
I do remember when Magic. Yeah.
Exactly. So he had it. I think he had it for a short amount of time there, and then he moved it to closer to Crenshaw because he felt like, I guess, it could be more traffic, and it's been over there ever since. But originally, when I played at Baldwin, we would leave football practice and go to the movies, sneak in the movies in the back. And that's how I met so many different people. And these are people that are friends with me still now to this day. You know what I mean?
No, that's incredible. So, do you remember when shit cracked off first between the 6 O's and the 8 Trays and all that?
That was, well, I heard about it, but I was really young because that was like, I might have been in the fourth grade. So I wasn't really, you know what I'm saying? I was still in the house, coming outside, hanging, still having fun. By the time I got maybe in the junior high school, it wasn't even a thought. It was just what it was, you know what I'm saying? And, you heard the stories or you heard about it. I remember talking to my homeboy Mump about it, and, you heard different things. But for me, though, I guess it was that era, there was a lot of people that, if they was from the hood, it was a few different type of guys. It was guys that was like, this is it. This is all I'm going to do. I'm about to be the best being from this neighborhood as I could. Then there was other guys that was like, man, I love my neighborhood, but this ain't about to be all I got to do. Mm-hmm. Then there was other people that was like, well, I'm going to do this a little bit, and I'm going to hustle, and I'm going to get in the streets. And you know what I'm saying? Those were the kind of different type of people. For me, it was more of, I'm about to show people that you could actually be from somewhere and get it together. You know what I'm saying? To me, that really meant a lot. You know what I mean? So
You wanted to serve as a catalyst of inspiration.
yes. Especially being from LA, everywhere you go, if you go out of town, especially in that area, everybody was scared. Mm-hmm. So they thought you was gonna shoot somebody, a gangbanger, you're gonna say, oh, boy to the hood. You know what I'm saying? So it was almost kind of like a little sting. So when I first got to Atlanta, my first year there, it was a few dudes from LA, but none of them was really from the Crenshaw district like that. It was maybe like one or two. But I just knew when I got there, just because of how I was and where I came from, I came with that same energy. So I was fighting, arguing, getting into it with people. And then I had to like check myself, like, what the? I'm in college. What the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I acting like I'm in the street? So it was almost like you had to like grab yourself. And I think that for different people, like, right now, the pastor of West Angeles Church, Reverend Blake III, we were literally roommates. You know what I'm saying? Me and his brother Lawrence. So I'm seeing these brothers, they're in the church, but they still kind of got their feet in the street, but they still knew that it wasn't going to be all about being in the street. So it was kind of like having a different horizon. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't feel like they can do it. I just always felt like I could. I just, felt like I just had a little bit something extra.
You had the glow on you.
You know what I mean? I mean, if that way, I say God. You know what I mean? I just
God.
keep it real. So I don't try to put it no other better than that. It's got to be God.
All glory be to Him, 1,000%.
Definitely.
Now, like you said, being the children of the first generation of the politics in LA, do you kind of remember it changing? Because nowadays, you talk to a lot of homies that are Crips, a lot of their biggest enemies are other Crips from different sets.
Right, definitely.
At a certain time, though, it was like mainly just Crips versus Bloods, blue versus red.
Definitely.
Do you remember that transition and what that was like when the politics really started to come into play?
I remember when I first got to LA as a kid, and my mama used to always go to car like hops, and you know what I'm saying, because she was kind of young. So she used to hang out with the Slossons, which was right there in that era. So, which is really still the homies. So at the end of the day, but they were like just a car club. So it was like a lot of people that just used to hang out. So I would hear as a kid about what was going on. As time progressed, you would hear more fights with different associations and crews. And then this is kind of like when I guess the whole thing really went bad when like a bunch of Carter got killed at UCLA, and you know what I'm saying, Geronimo Pratt got into the big shootout with the LA, you know what I mean? So it dead the whole civil rights movement at that point. And then that's when the whole force synergy of the real Crips and Bloods really got established, you know what I'm saying? Just from me and hearing, you know what I mean, what my mom was around. And now, mind you, I'm really young, but at the end of the day, I'm still young enough to be able to know and see they was walking in the house before, now they running in the house because somebody started shooting or somebody started fighting. So the violence and the tension and stuff started to build as the people established themselves as different units, and that's when the gangbang came into play, the transition.
it's really interesting because I'm glad that you brought up the fact that Geronimo Pratt and the roots of the Crips being Black Panthers essentially.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and I believe the acronym's Community Revolutionaries in Power.
Yes, it is.
And
Yeah.
so that was
The homework.
right. You feel me? So, do you feel like that the spirit, that essence of cripping with the righteousness and social activism, and do you feel like that still exists to this day? Does that energy still exist?
Well, the crazy thing about it, I think it's trying to come back. And I mean, like, and I think it was there there in your face, but I just think people kind of bubbled their own way because the Mayor I Can has always been there. Rest in peace to my brother Jim Brown, my brother Rockhead, you know what I'm saying, Skip, all them different cats that was really trying to do stuff out of that first and second generation of it. So they kind of seen it and kind of catched it, even when it comes to Big U. Like all these different people kind of seen what they needed to do, but I just think because people are who they are and you got all these strong personalities, these really, to me, I be tripping because I see how a lot of these guys actually grow into. And then I'll be like, dang, I was just in college with a dude that's running a Fortune 500 company that act just like him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he over there arguing about a transmission and you know what I mean? And I'm like, he could have really did that. So it to me, it's like, it's about the information, I think, more than anything. So with this last generation, I definitely don't think it has any really true existence right now. Because people, it's not really in your face. It's on the internet, which is very weird. Because how are you a part of an underground association if you're on the internet? Like, you could never be on the internet in the mob, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Rule number one: no media, right? Like,
or rule number one, don't talk about it.
Don't talk about
you know
it,
what I'm saying? If it happened, the people that know it happened. It's not even nothing that need to be spoken about. Like, for real, that's the whole thing of it. But I think, again, a lot of stuff has been glamorized and hip-hop has been forced into it, and just a lot of the different things that came from that really watered it down to the point to where, I remember like a couple of years ago, a friend of mine at a label was like, called me and was like, yo, this dude told me he's from 60s. Is he really from 60s? I'm like, why are you calling me, asking me, is an artist from 60s? Like,
it's kind of corny.
like, I mean, why does that, like, why are you looking for that as a qualification? That's sickening, bro. Like, for real. That's like black exploitation on it. You know what I mean?
No,
Because it's like,
depending
you're
on
really
who asked, that could be really
you know
problematic.
what I'm saying? You're looking for that so he has more street cred, so you can, like, to me, that's goofy. Like,
Very goofy.
If that's your selling point, then you probably are not really that good. You know what I mean? I'm just going to keep it a buck.
If it's dependent upon your affiliation, especially when we got artists like Kendrick Lamar, who's been downplaying his affiliations this whole entire time.
Because you want to know why? He's a thinker. No matter of how or where he's from or who he kick it with, he is a thinker. And when you got people that think first and do everything afterwards, you're going to see in life just how different things actually happen for them. Same play for Nip. Nip was a thinker. He was somebody that wasn't pitched in with, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. He knew that it was a bigger promise. It was a bigger goal. And he found out over time, because if you hear his music, you'll hear the change in his music.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what I think it has to do with everybody. But again, it goes back to the information, because if you don't constantly push the information, it's kind of a way for you to miss. You know what I'm saying? I tap in with my man, Mr. Gracie, in the Gracie estate. I don't know if you watch him on
absolutely.
Instagram. And, you know what I'm saying? He's a blessing. You know what I mean? A lot of people out here try to kind of like say this and say that, but they don't really have no true substance. When you're actually helping people to really try to create a different path, that's a path that might have been hidden, or some stuff that you may didn't know about that's actually really real, because a lot of people don't know. This is America. There's a lot of different ways to get to the point of the W. And all of it don't lead from the hood, rapping, scoring, you know what I'm saying, throwing a ball. Like, some of it is really somebody creating something, building something, and making it. That's the American way.
Well, and that's been like I think it was Twitch made a tweet couple months back, and it said like there's rapping, basketball, and now thanks to Kai Cenat streaming. So and obviously like the intention is to say, hey, this is a new,
This
but
is
really,
the new hustle.
but really that's a super derogatory
Yeah.
comment to make in general. You're saying that, oh, essentially what that statement says is black people have to do something in the realm of entertainment or athletics.
And
And
like they're not going to be doctors or they're not
Right.
going to be lawyers or judges or anything.
like
across the
motherfuckers didn't invent some of the most
Come on,
important
man.
things.
Like, for real. I mean, to this day, we still find out like years and like we're in 2025, and I think like maybe like 10 years ago, I was watching something on the History Channel. It just so happened that a black African man created something that
Ice
was
cream,
the original
gas masks.
I mean,
There's countless inventions that'll
So,
blow people's minds if they knew.
I think that the more we go on as time and people still dwell and find out what is really true and what's really not true, it just trips me out. Like our great grandparents and our grandparents lied to us like hell, but they didn't know no better because they just was following a script. But
Motherfuckers are indoctrinated. Straight up.
women couldn't even walk around. I be still tripping off that. Like in the 1960s and 65, a woman couldn't even buy a car without being co-signed by a man. Like
Yeah,
it's
and
very serious.
and X-rated magazines, bitches were showing kneecaps,
Exactly.
and that was
Harry-
gay.
hairy hushes. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it just goes back to like you were saying. The biggest thing I think in the misconception is people still thinking that it's cool to real try to be street and hood. It's like if you're supposed to evolve in humankind, then we're supposed to figure out a way not to be doing the most stupidest bullshit there is to do. You know what I'm saying? Especially with just the amount of money that's be able to be made from streaming, from football, from rapping, from acting, from being an artist. You know what I'm saying? There's just so many different ways to be able to tap in and be able to be successful in this modern day if you just have the understanding of thinking, finding out, researching, and doing. Like, it's crazy. You know what I mean?
1000%. Now, I want to get your take on this as somebody that was really outside. The origins of hip hop in Los Angeles, something that is not discussed enough.
Right.
Now, we know that LA is deeply rooted in funk. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the funk bands from the Midwest, a lot of Motown artists and things like that, and and groups from Ohio, Sly and the Family Stone. There's so many dope groups, even groups from Oakland like Tower of Power,
Yes.
and then of course Zap, things like that. Which
Zap.
really that's
Sly and the Family Stone.
Yeah, exactly. These were sounds that were really seminal to the growth of Los Angeles, and we grew up hearing that funk,
Right.
Them 808s, them, those deep synth bass lines. Now,
I think that's it right there.
it's a synth, right?
Because to me, and this is just me, but after Motown, right, and after kind of like I want to say the disco funk era, that Minneapolis stuff with Prince and just time
Morris Day.
and everything it was really all Prince, but it was just the different phases of Prince and his egos and all that.
Yeah.
It hit so hard everywhere that you had like dudes that were literally Black Panthers and ex-Black Panthers now that was like still liking women but wearing makeup and you know what I'm saying, shiny shirts and it was very serious and people thought it was cool because they was like, well, you got to have a costume. It was more of an outfit to wear, and that I think that kind of really helped build and process into the hip hop era that came through people such as, of course, Ice-T, but going back to even to the Rodeum and Dre and them mixtapes when they was
World Class Wrecking Crew.
You know what I'm saying? World Class Wrecking Crew. But even before the World Class Wrecking, when he was just making the Rodeum tapes over there with the Asian dude back, I remember I want to say 85. I remember my mom took me to go see Muhammad Ali with the torch.
Wow.
In the 84 Olympics, he was running down, I want to say through Venice. We went to go see him, took a picture.
I was there too. I was 3 years old, but I was there. My parents had me there.
Took a picture of him running, and then we left there and went to the Rodeum, and I got to get me a tape, and that was like one of the first times that I ever in my life heard King T rap. And it was King T and I think a Mixmaster Spade record or whatever, but that was like the first time I heard it. So for me, I kind of was like, oh, like it's really happening now because East Coast hip hop had already been established full throttle. You had a whole bunch of rappers coming out fast. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people don't even know. I just seen a post. My boy Talk to Pops. He's dope as hell. That's the homie. He posted about like 12 female rappers that came out in the mid to early 80s that
Like pre-Salt and Pepper.
pre-Salt and Pepper. Like Salt and Pepper was last.
Pre-Roxanne Shante.
I'm talking about, well, she was in that mix too, but Finesse and Sequence. You know what I'm saying? The homegirl from here, Smooth. You know what I'm saying? Did you know Smooth?
No.
Smooth is Chris Stokes and Marcus Houston's cousin.
No
or sister.
fucking way.
She's in that family right there, but she was rapping 85, 86, but she was going to New York and right there with him. Sparky D and, you know what I'm saying? It was a lot of different girls, but I was tripping off that in comparison to what's going on now.
Because it's like we're at like the tail end of the female era.
Right, like this is the real big female era, but it's the whole female era, that's
Right.
all. Because those girls, they wasn't hoes. They was really like, even if they was trying to be cute, all they was doing was trying to be fly with their clothes or whatever. You wasn't seeing no skin.
No, 100%. Yeah.
You wasn't even really seeing two cupped of booty. It was like
Right.
loose pants.
Well, and even like look, like the first female rap superstar, Salt and Pepper.
Exactly.
Like, they were sexy, but not overtly sexual. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, Herbie Lovebug, I think that was the producer. He was all into the prep era. So with that whole thing, it was about being fly and being chic. It wasn't really kind of like being sexy.
Yeah,
You
they
know
looked
what I'm
like they went to Hillman. You feel
Exactly.
me? Like, yeah.
Exactly. Or they could have been out with Phyllis Hyman or something.
Type shit. Type shit.
So yeah, so for me, that kind of like was the force. And then in my time and era, like it was people like, I gotta keep it real, DJ T, Trendsetter, who else?
Ronnie O and Joe Cooley?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like me personally.
Oh,
like people like in the district that was
Yeah,
rapping.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Trendsetter is still on Crenshaw right now, but he was like the first dude that I knew that rapped. And he was
Yeah.
rapping at, I want to say, he might have been rapping in elementary school, but I think he was trying to do mixtapes at Audubon. And DJ T was like doing some music with
There's
it.
some real early LA hip
Yeah,
hop history.
DJ T is Mustard's uncle.
Yeah, exactly.
And he also, owns the district, but he also was an intern at K-Day on Crenshaw. The original K-Day. You know what I'm saying? That's the nostalgia.
Was that before 93.5? What was it called?
Yeah, it was 1580.
15.
It was
AM radio.
It was the first 24-hour hip-hop station in the country. Because, see, in New York, they just had slots that they played hip-hop. It wasn't an all hip-hop.
Hot 97 wasn't strictly hip
No,
hop.
it was WBLS, and that was an R&B station. You know what I'm saying? So in that time and there, we had the first 24 hours. So this is why so many New York rappers had to come to L.A. to break it, because this was the station that was doing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the wattage, it was like literally in Lamert. So it was a perfect...
It's going to hit the hood.
It's gonna hit the hood.
It's gonna hit the
and
hood.
and it's gonna hit Hollywood. It was like,
Yeah.
smack dead center. And
They call it Central for a reason.
Exactly.
South Central. Yeah.
Exactly. So they had a whole big plug there. And for me, I kind of knew, and this is kind of what made me love hip hop, because, which was crazy. I remember like 7th grade at Audubon. I think when I first got to Audubon, because I think I went to the Horseman maybe for like 2-3 months. It was like 50 fights, and I was like, I'm out of here. But I got out there with the Audubon, and then when I got to Audubon, somebody told me like, hey, the homie Jinx, that DJ Jinx, his cousin got in a rap group, and they got tapes. They was passing out tapes. Ice Cube and them was passing out tapes at Audubon.
Sir Jinx and them passing out.
For NWA, and this is full throttle cussing. We're in junior high, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everything. And guess what? They let us play. Like, it was just free. I don't know why, but it was so crazy. And so this really, I think, what did it. I don't care what nobody said it. In the 8th grade, I think I want to say like 88, LA Unified District was on strike the whole year. So you had kids in school that year that was going crazy. It was a sub all year.
Right.
So nobody was going to class. If they was going to class, it was a certain amount of time. But this is when I think the real, true LA music like really started blowing up, because I started seeing girls and guys that I'd never seen with tapes. Now having music tape, mixtapes where they was making them, put the little tape underneath the thing or whatever. So for me, I kind of seen it happen. This is when I start hearing about like, this is Rodney O and Joe Cooley. This is King T for real when he was already rapping. This is Ice Cube. This is Ice Cube and NWA. This is what's the other? Rodney O and Joe Cooley. This is
Early
who else?
DJ Quick, maybe. When they were still Compton's most wanted.
Quick didn't come out till I got in high school.
Yeah, okay.
Quick first when he put out Loped Out Hood, when he put out the mixtape, when he was
before Quick is the name and all that. Yeah, that's like 1989.
That was like I want to say like 90, 91. He came out with it, and he was going up against a homie from Harlem named Kiki Loco. Kiki Loco is the originator of the true out the trunk for LA. I don't care what nobody say.
He's the Too Short of LA.
He's the Too Short of LA. He sold like 200,000-300,000 units of Banging on Wax. It was the Harlems in the East Coast. They had a whole big tape. They dissed every hood that they had beef with. It was classic. It was real LA gangster Crip hop.
The origins of what people today would refer to as drill music.
Yes. Oh, it was full throttle.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you listen, like if you listen to True Blue now and you're a gang member, you might have to stop it because they're gonna go completely. They're gonna dish your hood and talk about your mama. They go really there because that era was that.
Would you say that inspired the Bloods and Crips Banging on Wax album?
It definitely did because DJ Quick and True Blue was going at it. So I don't know who. I forgot the dude that did it. It might have been Stan Shepard. Was it Stan Shepard?
It might have been.
I think Stan Shepard because I know Battle Cat was in there, but whoever
Tweety
no
and all them.
It was my man in the wheelchair, right? Mike Conception.
Was it?
I think it was. It was either Mike Conception, Stan, one of those guys that was really big West Coast back then. They got the chance to put the Banging on Wax, and the biggest thing that they had national marketing. So that's what really did it. And then when Banging on Wax actually came out, it was like my freshman year in college, like 93, 94. So to me, when I heard that, I was like, I remember hearing Pyru Love, like, are you sick? Like this,
Pyru Love.
This is crazy.
Banger, fool.
And people were playing it to me and looking at me like singing along. Like I'm like, do you know I'm from Los Angeles, right? Like
even Crips gotta fuck with that song though. That song.
What? I don't care who. I knew every word. I'm not gonna play. I knew every word.
Even the verse that mentions all the hoods.
Come on, man. I knew every word of that song. So I was kind of really engulfed in that. But it kind of, I guess it really kind of trained my ear because, God rest her soul, my big sis Left Eye, she really...
the GOAT.
She really told me that I had like an ear in music, ear for music, and I didn't really even know what that meant. That kind of sounded corny to me. But, now in knowing what it really meant, it's just meaning that you kind of understand the vibration of stuff that's similar and that can catch. And then my father's a singer and a songwriter, and then my mom was like, doing a lot of the plays in the 80s. Like a lot of people don't know this because they look at Tyler Perry like he was the first, the best thing going.
Right.
It was a cat named Shelly Garrett, I believe. He did like Mama, I Want to Sing and Beauty Shop and all these different plays. I want to say Denzel Washington maybe was in a couple of them. But these were plays that was huge in the 80s and the early 90s in L.A. And this was like another platform for a lot of people to get off acting.
100%. And people don't mention a lot of the predecessors, the John Singletons, the Spikes, the F. Gary Grays. There's the
Keenan.
Exactly,
you know
him too. You feel
Keenan
me?
And my man
Hughes brothers, the Hughes brothers.
And my man, I tell people all the time. A lot of people always laugh when they talk about some of your favorite directors, but I'm a fool in a sense, meaning I love comedy and I love funny stuff. To me, Robert Townsend is probably one of the most slept on comedy producers in the world. Like, as a kid in the hood with a Jerry curl watching stuff like, Hollywood Shuffle and knowing every single word going, like, to me, to go reenact those different skits at school, to me, was the biggest shit in the world because it was like, this is how I think. So, and he was a little bit older than me, but I just felt like he was spot on. So all it was doing for me, now that I know, was just kind of twitching my ear and my understanding of entertainment. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I didn't ever think I was gonna do it. I thought I was gonna play football. You know?
Right. So do you feel like that era of out the trunk hustling and early banging on wax, was that kind of when the tone of LA music changed from more party music to
Well,
the gangster oriented shit?
well, you kind of it changed definitely because when East Coast, a lot of the East Coast guys, like I said, when they started coming here, and then K-Day went off the air, and then 92.3 came. This was like now a big market station big market because it was an FM station. So now you had an FM station that was playing hip hop majority of the time. They still played R&B.
And they were before Power. Was the beat.
Yeah, the beat was before Power. And
People
then,
don't know that shit.
Yeah, the beat was before Power. That's because that's where Theo was on that. You know what I'm saying?
Come
know
on.
what I mean? So,
I didn't even know bro was Asian until we seen him on Moesha.
bruh, I knew he was Asian because I met Russ Parr a long time ago when I got to Atlanta. And then he was like, it's crazy that Asian dude out there killing. And I was like, what Asian dude? And he was like, Theo, do you know he's Asian?
You had to be told that shit though. You wouldn't have known that.
No, I
just by
did. He
hearing
was the
it.
coolest sounding Asian dude I ever heard on the radio.
I never seen like so many bitches panties melt through the fucking radio waves.
I gotta give it up for my homegirl because she is another cool sounding Asian woman that
Angela
I think
Yee?
that was here. K Sly.
Shouts to her.
You
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
K Sly?
Of course.
So K Sly actually came from me and Chris. She replaced Lala in Atlanta when I got on the radio, and then she wanted to change markets or whatever, and then she got a chance to come to L.A. and was on here with Eric Kubici, and they did really well. But Sleazy, that's my nickname for it. Sleazy is always somebody that I always thought would be like, you gonna have all the black homegirls because you just sound like the black homegirl.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but
I don't even think I
shouts out
knew
to her.
Shorty was Asian until I was 8 years old.
K Sly. It was an Asian because Eric Kubici is Spanish and K Sly is Asian. So yeah, they had a nice little show on the beat, for a while. I think that Steve Harvey era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's I didn't even know we were gonna have such a LA conversation, but since we did, because I wanted to talk about a gang of other shit, but there's a few more things now that we started this LA rabbit hole that I feel like is really important. One being, do you feel like in the early '90s, I want to say on the crest of Public Enemy's success,
Yes.
then we started to see the native tongues come out, and hip hop, particularly in the mainstream, was very conscientious. It was
Right.
socially conscious. You had a Tribe Called Quest. You had De La Soul. You had the Jungle Brothers. You had Black Sheep. You had all these great. You had X Clan, who even was getting radio play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Shout out to Grandon.
shout out, you know what I mean? Like, so you all these great groups, and they're pushing this socially conscious message. But in the West Coast at that time, you know what I mean?
No, it was. I mean, gangbanging was still strong, but you had the whole, as they say, the African era when people had the little African patches, and you had Far Side that was coming out. You had first of all, you had the Good Life.
Okay, so this
Good
is
Life.
where I was leading to.
Yeah, the Good Life. Okay,
yeah.
so the Good Life was a place. It was right down the street from Dorsey.
Crenshaw Exposition.
Yeah, exactly. So originally we would go to the Good Life to try to steal car radios. I'm not going to.
Oh,
It was like a
scandalous.
whole. Yeah, I mean
You going
because
to B Hall like that?
bro, first of all, you couldn't get in there. Miss Hall wasn't gonna let you in there if she thought you was from a neighborhood. So it took us a while before we even got in there.
But
And I don't
somehow
know-
the homie LA Cool slipped through the cracks.
yeah, but because he was a real rapper, Crip.
Yeah.
He was like a real. Because I remember he was back. Him and the other homie. What's my homie name from? He from the hills.
Pterodactyl.
No, he from the hills. I can't believe I can't forget his name. Big dude. He from over here. I know you. When I say his name, you gonna.
Self Jupiter, are you talking about? I don't
Nah,
think
yeah,
it's
old
over
school.
there.
He came from that hole with pistol grip pump time and
Volume 10.
of course, but not him.
Or
But
not
he
Volume
was in that whole era. I'm probably gonna remember. But he was from the hills and he was.
Ganja K, RIP.
Gotcha K. Gotcha K.
Made the original Chronic.
Exactly.
Yes.
So him, people like Mean Green, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
R.I.P. Mean
Like
Green, too.
R.I.P. Mean Green. There was a lot of different people that kind of was still street, but still tapped into the artistic thoughts of being a hip hop artist from the West Coast. And that's why that whole variation worked and still work. And just look at the offspring of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you dig deep and dig in the offspring, you got to give, like, people like, you got to put ASAP in there, because Chase went and
100%.
created ASAP
Yep.
with Yams in New York, and he had that whole
Shouts to
real-
Self Scientific.
Yes,
If you know, you
know
know.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
DJ Khalil, I still call him Doc. You know what I'm saying? Chase is a brother of mine, but I was a fan of Chase before I even met Chase. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I used to see him freestyle and rap. I remember they was on the street team. Bigger B, oh, rest in peace,
Bigger B,
Bigger B.
yeah,
You know what I'm
straight up.
saying? From the record store. So I used to see a lot of these guys and kind of be in awe, because I still was like athlete, you know, kind of doing my thing or whatever. So I didn't really want to tap into the music world. Then, I'm not gonna lie, in that era, if you was somebody that was in the hood, it always had the stigma of being weird. You know what I'm saying? Where it was some weird shit going on.
Right.
Now we know.
We're that far off.
For us in that time, it was like you didn't get out of, in 1992, a lot of people didn't get out of high school and was like, I want to rap. They was like, I'm gonna play basketball, play football, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do something like that. So the whole getting into rap thing came, I think, because of the success, again, of Death Row, because these dudes was real, outside, street, Crips, Bloods, whatever you want, and they was actually real artists. So,
100%.
you know what I'm saying? That really got a chance for the hoods and the projects for people to really understand and be like, okay, so we could really do this too. So that's where it all came from. I remember cats like Paperboy. He was from the East Side with the Diddy and stuff like that. And he was,
Lived up in Merced.
yes, you know what I'm saying? So it was different cats like that you know, made little inches and ands. Like, a lot of people don't know.
Candyman.
Candyman. But it was a lot of those novelty groups, like Candyman, what's my other boy name? Tone Loc.
Yep.
What's the other dude name, too? The other big dude that around that same area. What's his name? Young MC.
Young MC.
Young
Come
MC.
on, man.
Those guys sold a lot of records. And I think they still
Bust
might
a
be
Move.
performing. Bust a Move.
Yeah,
Still right
that was a
now.
slapper.
You know what I'm saying? But
They for
even,
sure getting sync licensing paper off that motherfucker.
of course, like, I think they said, what's the name made maybe 20 or 30 million off of
I believe it.
I Like Big Bus.
Oh, sir, makes a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so you say he bought all his homes and everything. But I just seen the different variations and stuff, because even before Death Row, it was another group that I thought was really going to break, and then they kind of got caught up in the mix. It was a two group, because a lot of people think that Mobb Deep was the first Havoc and Prodigy.
South Central Cartel.
South Central Cartel, Havoc and Prodigy. And one of those
was
guys
gonna bring them up as
one
well.
of those guys was from Chicago, but like moved to the East Side, and then one of them was from the East Side. But they was the first Havoc and Prodigy. But
They were never really specific about what hood they were from. If you like, you got to listen really closely.
They just wore khakis, and you had Jerry curls, and the one dude, the other dude in the group, he used to look like Chris Rock on CB4.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
There's
So-
Havoc, Prodigy, another dude named Havoc.
Yes.
There's Havoc the Mouthpiece and Havoc the Rhyme Son.
Right.
DJ Grip. I remember, I was obsessed with South Central Cartel and Gas We Trust.
Shout out to
album.
the homie too, because I still be seeing him. Shout out to my homie No Name. I don't know if you know No
Yeah,
Name.
yeah.
No Name be having them in the studio, him, them, and Second to None, all of them over there in Inglewood.
Real OGs.
Yes.
So, per your understanding, because my favorite album of all time is The Infamous by Mobb Deep.
Right,
I
right,
love Mobb Deep.
Right.
I also love South Central Cartel. And I remember back in the day, there was this thing in The Source, I think it was called Hip Hop Mysteries. You could write in and ask a question.
Right.
And I never got my question answered. And to this day, it seems to be marred in controversy.
Right.
I heard Prodigy from Mobb Deep talk about it. I've seen Prodigy from South Central Cartel touch on it as well.
right.
How the fuck do two groups on the opposite sides of the country come up with the same name? One of them is a duo from LA, the other one is a duo from Queens, New York. Make it make sense.
Well-
this isn't a biblical reference. This isn't
Well,
names that are
South Central Cartel was first,
right.
because they was already like doing it, and I think they was already established as a group like late 80s, early 90s. I think I remember seeing them on TV like by 90. So
Right.
if that's the case, 90, I was in the Mobb Deep is younger than me, so they was in junior high, like, so they wasn't Mobb Deep yet. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
They
Or
were actually
Havoc
called
Prodigy.
Poetic Prophets at first, and the Infamous dropped in '95, so I want to say they came out probably '93.
Yes, yes. So they had them beat. But here's the thing. You ever heard the music business?
Yeah.
Yeah. So by them being signed to Def Jam, what Def Jam did is hire Havoc and Prodigy and told them, forget it. We're gonna give you guys a deal. You can put out your own artists. Just let us get the names. So they got the name, and that's how Mobb Deep was able to keep Havoc and Prodigy, and you never heard nothing else from South Central Cartel.
Oh, that's crazy as fuck. And they came out under Loud Records was who dropped Mobb Deep, so they basically bought the right of the names.
But I think they was managed by Russell or something.
That makes
Russell
sense.
was like in the mix somehow.
Rush Associated labels.
Exactly,
type shit.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or if I'm not
'Cause
mistaken,
Steve Rifkin signed them.
yes, if I'm not mistaken, somebody was doing it for Steve Rifkin.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was
Yeah.
maybe a play for.
No,
you know what I
I've
mean?
recently been told, and I'm someone that grew up like holding a Steve Rifkin in high regard, and I still do.
Steve and John they're the ghosts, man.
I do, but I've also recently been told that there's a lot of members of this team that were putting in a lot of work that don't necessarily get the same recognition and accolades that.
Gabi, you know what I'm saying? Gabi, he's the GOAT. You know what I mean? We probably wouldn't have French Montana if it wasn't for Gabi. You know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
So, as well as Deb, shout out to Deb. But there's a lot of different guys that was really, even like Steve's brother, John. You know what I mean? John, to me, was the real promo guy. Like, Steve was the brain, but John was the doer. Like, first person I met at the radio station from Loud was John.
That's crazy.
And Gabi.
The way that they went about just and it's funny because I love Mobb Deep. Like I said, they're one of my favorite groups ever. That's my favorite album is The Infamous. It's a flawless body of work. But they had the Hennessy shirts on. They had the bandanas. They basically had Tupac's image. They were talking about Hypnotic Thug Life. And you feel me? Pac already had a group called Thug Life. So they're like, obviously Prodigy is super, Havoc Empire, super influenced by the West Coast.
Well, I think this is what I think happened. Because you say Tupac, right? But Tupac didn't dress like that until he did Juice. Mm-hmm. So if you knew Tupac before Juice, he wasn't a roughneck. He turned into a roughneck after that role because he kind of really fell into it, and I think it took a piece of him. So because that's when he really became really wild, and you don't know what a wild
Well, yeah, there's
child.
a clear difference on the Tupacalypse Now album.
Yes, of
strictly
course.
for my N-words.
And,
Like,
and,
there's
the-
a lot of
and those are some of my favorite Tupac albums. 'Cause
Yeah.
to me, Pac was really rapping. And this is the thing that I always wonder. Because Pac had dropped those two albums, right? Mm-hmm. The second one had Brenda's Got a Baby. Mm-hmm. That sold 1 million records. Mm-hmm. How he didn't have $1 million to get out of jail?
I mean, he had multiple hits at that point, too. He had
So
I
I'm
Get
like, Tom
Around
Wiley
and-
was work. Tom Wiley, he did his. Tom Wiley had a crazy situation going on because that's who he was signed to at Warner at that time. I don't even think he was signed to Interscope. He was signed to Warner, and then Warner and Interscope merged or some shit like that. But yeah, I always tripped on that. Like he was a solo artist, and he sold 1 million records, but didn't have $1 million. That was the craziest ever.
It doesn't make sense, and it still don't make sense why they wouldn't have just chose different names for those guys, why they had to name them Havoc and Prodigy. It's it'll never make sense to me, no matter how many times it's explained.
Well, I think it was a situation where people just knew that the guys from South Central Cartel probably wasn't going to be big as these young kids from New York.
Right.
And they kind of had the image. They was young enough. They sold it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why a lot of people that's why I think they was like, okay, this is going to work. Because I think, what's the name, was already like 24, 25.
Well, yeah, and you know what's funny is a lot of people don't know that Mobb Deep is low-key a creation of Q-Tip.
Yes.
From Tribe, you feel me?
Right,
And he
I do
wanted
know
to
that.
make a hood, thugged out version of Tribe Called Quest.
Yes,
And that's exactly what they were. And if you even listen to Tip on the infamous album on the Drink Away the Pain record
Yes,
that
I
he
remember
produced.
that. That's one of my favorite songs.
Incredible record, right?
Right.
And you could hear they really are. And then now you go back.
Big Noise did that, right?
Big Noid is on he's on.
Well, who produced that? Alchemist?
No. So that was before Q-Tip produced that song, but
He did
Havoc.
produce, okay.
Yeah, Q-Tip produced that record, but the rest of that album was all Havoc.
Yes.
And remember, he's in house for
Yeah,
the majority of the.
definitely.
But once they got Alk, then it became some other shit,
right,
and then they were on G Unit working with them.
And that's still the funniest thing. Like, how did they meet? How did Alk come from California to get to New York to meet them? Like,
Well, so apparently, what I've been told, and I'll Alex the homie,
Yes.
if he ever wants to
What's up, Al?
correct this, because we got some other corrections to talk about as well coming up. But from my understanding, Alk was mentored by Primo.
Right.
Primo
Okay.
picked Alk out somehow.
Wow.
'Cause I think the first records I remember Alk producing was for Dilated Peoples and for
Yes.
Defari.
Yes.
He was doing underground LA shit.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
All day long.
Which
Shout
was
out to
actually
Defari.
resonating. Shouts to Defari, Heru. You
Yep.
feel me?
And
Legend.
Dilated People.
Shouts to Rock
Evidence.
and Ev. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's my I got so many phases, but at one point I was like me, Chase and Brock, we was like the steady exhibit, management team along with Big John. So we stayed over there in the steady over over by Word on Wheels for about like 6-7 years.
Mid city shit. Come
You know what I
on.
mean? So we put it together with Crime Don, Mitchie Slick, Phil the Ag, you know what I'm saying?
I love Strong Arm Steady.
Yeah, Planet Asia. So
Clack, 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 clack.
clack
Yeah.
all day long. So,
Yeah.
so I got a lot of love for them brothers, man. That whole true hip hop era, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Which I think, again, just goes back to King T, because I just think that's what a lot of people don't even know. King T created the whole Liquid crew,
Yeah, absolutely.
got those guys together.
There's
and
no
really,
licks.
you know
There's
what I mean?
which means there's no Mad Lib.
Yep.
You feel me?
Well, shout out to Mad Lib,
Shouts to
man.
Mad Lib, the
Yes.
motherfucking GOAT producer. Literally. Now, okay, we brought up King T twice, so I have to say it, all right? Because I love King T.
I do too.
Biggie Smalls took King T's style.
Oh yeah, all day long. I did.
1,000%.
Definitely. But I remember him actually saying that he listened to King T
He did.
in an old interview. You know what
I
I'm saying?
remember that he said King T and Casual
Yes.
from Hyro
Yep,
were his
from
favorite
Hyro.
rappers.
Yep.
And Shouts to both, and you hear it in Biggie's raps. Now, I remember a couple years ago that controversy came out. There was the artist, like I think his name was the real Big Small or something like that, out of Memphis. I think he was a Southern.
And then
rapper.
he had the juicy.
He had the
sample.
juicy sample, and he has a very alarmingly similar cadence
Yes,
to Big.
yes.
So there, might have been some influence.
Hey
that-
man, I'm gonna tell you like this. A lot of people can say what they want. I've known Puff and the Bad Boy, all those guys for a long time. What people kind of do whenever they do whatever they do, I don't really give a. To me, you ain't really supposed to be around people like that. You know what I'm saying?
You
It's
left the party before that time.
I left the party. Let me tell you something about me. I am a Leo. So therefore, if I go to a party with a whole bunch of dudes that probably got more money and more status, but I know I can get some girls, I'm going to pick my cherries and roll. Because I know I can get something going real easier and probably have more fun because they're going to be focused on me. Right. So that was always my thing. I'm going to go to the party. Me and Luda, we would go places. We're going to stay there about an hour and a half, and we out. So if there's something that did happen, we wasn't around to see it. And the reason we wasn't around to see it, why do I want to hang around with y'all dudes at night in some rooms when we can be somewhere with these girls by myself? Like, I don't get that. I ain't never been on that. You know what I mean?
The former pastor Mace once said, "Why are you over here looking at me while my girl's
standing here?" Exactly. That means it's time to exit. If you see my girl standing over me, it's time for us to get kind of personal. You feel me?
Yeah.
So that's kind of always my approach. And I always I'm not really too impressed with nobody, because I'm one of those type of people that be like, it's always about timing, preparation, and who you are and what happened and who did it. You know what I'm saying? For a person like me, it was all God, because I ain't had no way for somebody to bring me in as a, you know what I'm saying? I ain't do all that. I literally was like, I got to make something happen. And that's really just how it happened for me when I got to Atlanta.
You kicked down your own doors. And
feel me?
Just to reiterate it one more time, Biggie Smalls heavily influenced by King T. You could hear it in his voice.
All in
cadence,
his voice.
Flow.
When you hear Act the Fool, I heard that too many times. I think I had this conversation, this whole big controversy conversation with a good friend of mine from the East Coast, my homeboy Tyreek. He actually is from New York, but he went to school in L.A. We used to have Biggie Smalls and West Coast rapper, period, because they thought Biggie was the best thing, sliced bread. I'm like, he was cool. I mean, I definitely like Big, but I just know it still was it's better MCs out there, even on the East Coast.
No.
I was a real big Juice Crew fan. You know what I'm saying? So
Big Daddy Kane,
Coogee
Rap.
Rap.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Coogee
yeah.
Rap had the illest, like
The
his.
bosses of a boss.
You know what I mean, bro?
Yeah.
And the Vaseline tongue, pause. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? He still had a speech impediment and still getting it off. So to me, I see stuff like that and real sharp with it. He ain't had to do too much, and that's where I think Biggie still kind of got a lot of that too. I feel like Biggie really took a lot of bits and parts, a lot of bits and pieces of a lot of different people, and then kind of formulated his thing. Because
In particular, King T.
in particular, King T. I'm gonna give
Let's just-
but but I'm not gonna say he was just King T.
No,
He
he's
was,
not-
You
he's
know what
not
I'm saying?
strictly King T,
He definitely got. But for a person like King T, you would want you influence somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? I always say Tupac, Lil Zane.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't think Lil Zane was just like Tupac, I mean everything he did, but that's what he wanted to be. If certain people to inspire and people give you that much inspiration, do your thing.
Well, let's be fair. After Pac and Big, there's about a decade of Big and Pac karaoke.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was literally like the entire industry was.
The one dude from out here, he was
Oh,
the fake
Gorilla Black?
Gorilla Black.
Yeah.
Then you had
Great guy. He seems like such a nice dude.
Then you
but-
had Shine.
Yeah.
Then you had Hot. No, was it not that Hot Dollar? But it was another dude that was a Tupac dude.
Mayhem.
Mayhem. Then you had who else? It was another
I mean,
one too.
we could say Ja Rule.
Yeah, we can say Ja
Image
Rule.
wise, we could
Image
say
wise.
DMX energy wise.
Definitely, definitely, all that because those forces were just so big though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Tupac.
But that's when it manifests in a good way and you use influence properly. You come out like DMX.
Yeah.
When you use it improperly, no offense, you wind up like Gorilla Black, essentially just a clone. You know what I mean? No offense. But let's just keep it a stack.
Hey man, you crazy. Look, more power to that brother, man.
No,
I don't be trying
and
to
I've
shoot
heard
him
a
down.
lot of good things about him, and I'd love to chop it up with his extracurriculars because he has a whole interesting story outside of the rapping. But definitely heavily borrowed from Biggie Smalls' image, voice, and cadence.
Definitely.
It is what it is.
I mean, a lot of that, and I think a lot of times just in hip hop, people try to, when they study their craft, they try to take a little thing and maybe trying to tweak it and twitch it, But again, although all that era of hip hop is gone, we don't really have the originality form right there. And if we do have it, I mean, I love to say it. I don't even want to say I hate to say it. It's this new Christian rap scene because I don't know if you know, but man,
There's some shit.
church music now from rappers is more incredible than regular hip hop.
No, I got homies that are deep in that scene that are
Miles
raw.
Mink.
Yeah.
Miles Mink, bruh, he got probably one of the biggest records I think on radio right now, and there's no way you would know it was a Christian record.
Huge records.
Huge record.
Absolutely
And
huge
he has a
records.
record. He had a record with La Russell that was huge. You know what I'm saying? But just to me, finding different ways to be able to do something that's been happening for so long is the true art of being an artist.
Yeah.
Mimicking and just blatant stealing just lets people know that you don't have a creative soul in your body. You know what I'm saying? So one of the worst terms that I hate, and I mean, I'm not being disrespectful, I hate the term twin because unless you're a twin, you need to be your own superpower. Like, people need to know how to roll as alliances. And when I mean that, meaning you go do your thing and be great, and then link up with someone else who's doing their thing and be great.
Right.
Now your force is bigger.
Right.
There's no weak links. You know what I'm saying? And then people trying to, emulate somebody just because they did something good. No, you just go do something good totally different.
And that's why when Future and Drake did those tapes together, it was so powerful
Yes.
because these are two superstars
Right.
that don't need each other. They're going to be all right if they continue to operate in the capacity
Yeah.
they were. But coming together, they're able to cast a wider net.
And it helps with Drake's
100%.
street cred.
It gives Drake street credibility, and that's just a few more white girls that might not have paid attention to Future that are now, you feel me? So it worked both ways.
It definitely worked, because I remember after that, Future like went stupid crazy writing pop songs.
Yeah,
pop type, you know
he
what I mean?
wrote "Drunken Love" for Beyonce.
Exactly.
So
So you know, and that's shout out to Meathead. I don't even call it Future.
Big,
Shout out to Meathead.
you know, original Dungeon fan.
Exactly.
It's funny. My homie, who's actually engineering this session right now, Mango. He's a lot younger. You feel me? Mango's a couple decades younger than us, and he never really heard Oukast. So I'm like, oh, I'm about to, enjoy it. Like you, I'm so excited to show you the next 2 weeks of your life are going to be very, very different now.
I mean, if you haven't had Cast in organized noise, just the whole DF on a whole, and you haven't had the ear orgasma of that music, you're gonna have a really lot of fun, because you're gonna hear stuff that you ain't never heard before, on stuff that you ain't never heard before. I think, and I know for a fact, Rico, Ray, and Pat was some of the most daring people in hip hop, but still real. You feel what I'm saying?
I'm getting the chills right now.
They found the realness of everything true in music, and was able to create the colossal of their whole movement. And again, thank you, Jesus. I was put there and didn't know what the hell I had going on. Like literally, I got to go back again to Left Eye, because after she told me in my face, listen, you're not going to the NFL. So come get a job over here with me at Left Eye Productions and learn music. So I was fighting it at first, because again, weird. I didn't want nobody to associate me with no weird, something that wasn't a vibrato, a heterosexual man. You feel me? So I had to kind of figure out what it was about and how to treat it and how to understand it and take it for what it is. I think a lot of people just don't understand the entertainment game does not need you. You want it. So, and if you want it, you have to understand and realize what you're getting into. All the shit you think is cool, and my buddy, that's my fam. No, it's business, bro. Everything is business. It's business. If you worked at McDonald's, you worked at Burger King, you would be spending your time doing business. So if you're doing music, you're spending your time doing business. And you need to approach it like an entity doing business with another entity. And I love for the fact that Sam, Nip, really stood on stuff like that, and you couldn't get mad. And that's even with their friends. Because if you really want to be something to be in match with me, you have to match that same energy and learn the same tradition and trade. Because if you don't, then we're going to be weak.
Right.
Things ain't going to be how I need to be. And everybody don't need to be exactly the same, but people can be strong in strengths. You know what I'm saying? This person's good at this. This person's good at this. This person's a master at that. Okay, let's focus all our energy on the master. You feel me? So other things can flourish. And I just think a lot of times in this day and age, just of people trying to call themselves streamers, creators, people just like to mimic. And mimic is never, ever, ever good, because all you're doing, you're blatantly stealing from somebody's creativity. Thirdly, you letting people think that you don't have the same brain as everybody else. And we all got the same brain, Les.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So
our capabilities are whatever limitations we put on ourselves, essentially.
So, but these are things that I had to learn. Because when I got to Atlanta, I didn't know what the hell I was going to do, especially when I really realized, look, it's hard to go to a D1 and playing in a black school. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So you went to Clark?
I went to Clark.
That's an
Atlanta.
HBCU.
Yeah.
Now, I want to get into the whole Atlanta thing, but I think in order to preface it, am I wrong in saying, or do you disagree with this opinion, that Oukast is the greatest musical group of all time?
Yeah, one of, I could say that. In the era of where they were, yes.
I'm saying,
You
like,
know
in my lifetime.
And they were, but to me, I still got to look at, Hank Shockley and
no, I get Public Enemy.
And,
okay.
You know what I'm saying? It was to me, it was like, it's variations of time, it's variations of years, and I think one is the reason that another. because Outkast and Goody Mob is not even them if it's not public.
No, 100%. There's
You know what I'm saying?
And even Tribe Called Quest and all
Yes.
this, subsequent groups that came
Yeah.
out.
Even people like Arrested Development.
Arrested
like, you know what I
Development,
mean?
1000%.
Yeah.
The speech of them gets super overlooked.
Yes.
But like,
Ishi.
yeah, you feel me? Now let's keep it a stack though. To me, and I'm one of the biggest Public Enemy fans. From Yo Bum Rush the Show, Fear of a Black Planet, their entire catalog. It takes a nation of millions.
Right.
But I feel like Outkast music, although it was later and wouldn't exist without PE,
Right.
I feel like it aged a lot better than a lot of other groups from that era and the previous eras due to the layers of musicality.
And where they were at.
And
Like
where
them
they were
being
at.
Southern.
That
You know what I'm
too.
saying? So it was kind of like a different take on what they heard from up there, but their version of it. So you heard the very deep soul influence and the loop sounding like it was,
Didn't sound like a loop.
no,
it was like live.
It wasn't a loop.
Yeah,
it was a
exactly.
lot. My man Preston Crump is playing all that bass on there, and Tommy and Chance on the keys. Oh my God! So when people heard it, it just felt so like
Alive.
You know what I'm saying? I know I had to hear this before, or what is it, or where it is, but it was all really new. And I got a chance to really see them really cook it and make it, because when they was doing Outkast's album, man, it was a lot of stuff on the living. It was a lot of stuff on the floor, and I was like, they was throwing away stuff. I was like, oh no, oh my God,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
I can't imagine those sessions.
Oh my God! And then the dope thing is that the only reason I think I actually got a chance to really hear a lot of the stuff is because, again, Lisa, she's a bad girl. So, everybody always talks about the different situation that happened with Left Eye and TLC and them not really getting paid or whatever.
I actually got to interview T-Boz a couple years ago. And
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
That's my sister, TT. I love you.
She's amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
So, everybody talks about that. But just to keep it solid, Pebbles, which was their manager, really had an understanding that maybe that deal wasn't right. So what she did was create other things and other situations for them to make money too. And the biggest thing that she did for Left Eye was give her a production company. And it was called Left Eye Production. So while she was in TLC, she was also a designer of clothing and furniture. She had a production company with 4 acts. You know what I'm saying? A girl named Nandi, 2 different rap groups, Je ne sais quoi and Drip Drop.
Okay.
It was like a fusion of East Coast, Southern,
That's
West
like
Coast.
Question Mark Asylum.
Yeah,
and all
you know what I mean? But it was
yeah.
like in the Atlanta gumbo, though.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? So
okay.
this is pre-Outkast or
Right.
Wild Outkast cooking. And these groups never, I think Je ne sais quoi actually came out. I think Drip Drop maybe had a single.
Because there was Crisscross and Kilo Ali, and there wasn't too
Well,
much else.
Kilo Ali, these people were standouts. Crisscross was, of course, the big phenomenon.
Made me want to rap.
Kilo was the streets. These groups that I'm talking about were groups that you probably went to the studio and seen because they ain't came out yet.
Right.
The other guys that you talking about from Raheem the Dream.
Yeah.
And Big Hope Records and Sammy Sam and Pat the Great and Money Red and all these different groups that came out. They were more of in the club bass era. So they was kind of like the transition. Outkast.
Like kind of like more Miami bass sounding, up tempo.
Well, Miami bass, Georgia bass. 'Cause
Yeah.
Miami bass and Georgia bass was similar. It was just MC Shadi was really from Georgia, and he would go down to Miami.
A lot of
Fuck
to the
with-
left,
you
to
know
the
what I'm saying?
left,
A whole
to the
bunch,
right, yeah.
really booty shake music, stripper
Yeah,
music. So
yeah.
so the girls could shake their ass. So, but Outkast really wanted to create something that they felt like didn't look like clownish to them like that. It had to have more substance because they wanted to speak on it. So that's when you heard, cell therapy, and they talking about people being trapped. You know what I'm saying? In the projects, and it's being
To
used
this
as a
day,
trap.
that beat being used.
You feel me, man? Hey, look, the crazy
The
thing
South
about
got
it-
something to say.
the crazy thing about it, I heard that beat on a loop at the old dungeon. Rest in peace, Rico Way. Rest in peace, Rico Way and Mama Way. At the old dungeon at Mama Way house for like a day and a half, and I didn't know what I was like.
Don't.
Bro, Ray had it playing in the just the do. It didn't have all that.
Yeah,
It was just that part, and he was just playing it and playing it, and then he told me I think he wanted. Somebody was on the song and he wanted them to get off the song. So he said he wasn't going to stop playing until they figured it out. You know what I'm saying? So because while Goody Mob was Goody Mob, Goody Mob was forming. Like Goody Mob was like formed like almost on, okay, we gonna do
Like
this.
Wu-Tang.
You know what I'm saying? Because Gip was a solo. No, Gip was in the East Point Chain Gang.
He's, by the way, my favorite member of the Goody Mob.
You know what I'm saying?
Gip.
Big Gip. What's up, Gip? Him and Cool Breeze was in a group together, and the other brother named Cap.
Timo
and Cujo was in the Lumberjacks, and they was at Morris Brown doing all the talent shows and all the stuff like that. So when they all got together, it was them, and then people like Eyeball and Backbone. I don't even know if you know.
Yeah.
Them. They were another group called Slick Partner. All these different groups were formulating there at the dungeon while Oukast was still working. And again, a lot of these guys knew each other, but they really didn't know each other. They was just somebody that kind of Rico, Ray, and Pat knew, or somebody else knew that just came around and formulated. You know what I'm saying?
How did CeeLo get included?
CeeLo got in because of, if I'm not mistaken, Pretty Ken, which he was like a friend to somebody else. I want to say Cujo or either Gip. He was a friend of them. So he brought CeeLo because CeeLo could sing, and he went to Maze, he could sing. And I don't even think he was rapping then. I think I want to say his first real rap, might have been like, I don't recall ever graduate. That was the first time he actually wrote a rhyme. So that was like, that blew everybody away. Like, oh my God, it's about, you know what I'm saying? Because he can actually sing and he can rap. So that really cemented him as the fourth member of the Goody Mob. You know what I'm saying?
And then he wound up being the standout superstar.
Exactly. You know, but again, everybody in that crew really knew what was going to happen. We seen it. We knew how it was going to form.
It's just so funny, and this is my personal, like, we all got our own taste, but like I said, Gip always stood out to me. You know what I mean? Like
Gip, I mean, he's the true hippie of the bunch. You know what I'm saying?
Turn up king.
And he is also somebody that's real recluse. So if you don't really know Gip, he might like fuck with you. But if you know Gip, you're gonna have one of the greatest times of your life, like for real.
I can imagine that. I mean, Mr. Boogie Oogie from the Goody Gip. Take my Oogie Oogie between your camel foot and stay put. A straight dog when I'm chasing the platypus. My intellectual. Come on, man. That fool was a monster, bro.
Hey,
he was talking he was like the most eloquent ignorance. You feel me? Like he's a perfect blend of that shit.
He was somebody that was like the abstract. You know what I'm saying? If you go left, he go right. He gonna walk this way, and then I'll meet you around there. Like he one of those. He ain't really got to walk with you, but he's still gonna get there on his own time and own way. You know what I mean? Gip has always been, to me, a lot of people, you know, if you know Gip, then he trends light in your favorite in the group. But sometimes some people don't really tap in because they might just see CeeLo, or they might just see, you know what I'm saying, Cujo or Gip. So, I mean, Cujo or Timo. So, to me, Gip always was that true goody, though. You know what I'm saying? Because he stood really for all that good died mostly over bullshit. He was strong on this, you know what I'm saying? That he was strong on that pro-black righteousness of that. You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny because listening to him rap, you would probably think that he was not one of the more leaning in that direction. But if you actually hear him talk, then you know what time it is for real. But it's just funny because CeeLo has such a style that jumps off a track. Then you got Timo, who raps super fast and has like these crazy,
chop it.
Yeah, just crazy cadences.
You up, you know what I'm saying? And Cujo gonna eat you up. Like
and Cujo very aggressive style. Yeah. And I just fucked with Gip because he would come with that smooth player.
Yeah, he gonna like, pop in and pop out, hop around his little skinny yeah, then he gone. Like
I feel like he would fit in. Like if all these dudes were new artists right now, he would fit in with the newer climate. Really well.
Well, Gip is a real cool spirit, so it's like he's always been one of them dudes that's always been cool. So he, old or young, he just always gonna, you know, he knows how to present himself in the now and in the back then. He's genuine, true genuine. That's why it stands out right now, because I'm seeing just the success he's having, you know, doing different podcasts, people talking about him, because Gip is a real good, genuine person, and he's very intelligent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then there's so much I want to ask him about, like, you know, the whole thing, his relationship with Joy, there's so much.
J.O.I.
Yeah, like
Joy Gillum.
She's so fire, too.
Right.
Super underrated artist. Tennessee Slim, you feel me? Like, they don't know, but I know. And So you mentioned a few times that your real introduction to the industry, despite being around music and obviously having the ear that Lisa Left Eye Lopez said you had. How did you and Left Eye meet?
Magic Mountain grad night '92.
What the fuck? So you met like it was that out here?
Yes.
What?
They was on like a promo tour just starting. I don't know if it was Hammer or somebody. It was another big artist, but they was just like open. I think all they had was "Ain't Too Proud to Beg."
So it was right when Ula on the TLC.
Yeah, yeah. No, they was just promoting because back then
Singles.
they would promote your single before they was even ready to do
Right.
the album. So I think they might have had a couple of songs that they was gonna do, but they was just really only doing like 2-3 songs, and
It was
it
that,
like-
then
it was
baby,
that.
baby, baby. then
Exact-
What about?
But
Your
again,
Friends?
all that came out with the album.
Correct.
It was a whole like maybe like 4 to 5 months where "Ain't Too Proud to Beg" really blanketed, and then when they went back in the studio, I believe, and started working on the album, "Baby, Baby, Baby" came next because that was the second single, the big single too. So that's kind of like really catapulted them. But yeah, so I met her, got into a whole big riot at Magic Mountain on some stupid, ignorant, young shit. You know what I'm saying?
And she's there.
She's not there. I am running for my life, so I'm cutting. It was a stage that they had back then at Magic Mountain. I forgot what it was called. It was like a club arena where the performers used to perform at. So I break, somehow get back there, run through a wall. I just don't want to get beat up. I end up hiding somewhere, getting in the bathroom. I'm sitting in the bathroom, scared as a motherfucker. Like, I really don't want to go to jail. I really don't want to get in trouble, and I don't want to get beat up. So I don't know if somebody chased me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where my friends at. Nothing. I hide in there for about a good 15, 20 minutes. I hear somebody talking in there, but don't nobody come in the bathroom. It sound like everybody left, and then Lisa opened the door. So when she opened the door, she's like, "What the?" So I'm like, "Look, I don't know if you know what's going on, but it's some crazy shit going on. I can't go back out there. I don't want them niggas to kill me. I don't want to go to jail. I'm about to go to college in Atlanta. I don't need to, you know what I'm saying? I want to,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, just
Right.
don't let me fuck it up. Just come into Magic Mountain." So she was like,
Magic
"Calm
Mountain
down."
was so janky.
She was like, "Calm down, relax." I think she went and got some little, some Band-Aid or something for me to clean my face or whatever. She gave me like a TLC t-shirt, put a hat on, and was like, "Chill." And so I was like drinking some soda, drinking maybe a beer. I think I might have had a beer, and I had never drunk a beer before, so I spit it out because I wasn't even drinking back then. I was like literally still in high school. So so somehow, some way, she take me back to in LA, drop me off at the house. They drop me off like in a limo or town
Sounds
car.
like she liked you for real.
But I'm thinking she liked me on some, she trying to date me.
That's what it sounded like.
No, she's older than bro. She was already like 23, 24. She ain't trying to date no dude in high school. She just seen the spirit in me and, tapped into me like a younger brother. And I found this afterwards, like when I talk to people like Corrupt and Skull, because they all grew up in the same neighborhood, and they say back in Philly, everybody used to go kick it with Lisa. You know what I'm saying? Because she was the home.
She's the awesomest person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she wasn't no punk. And she, you know what I'm saying? She had all the variables that the hood is going to like. So this is why I think she was even, gravitated to me, or just even gravitated to the people she
just sense
did.
energy.
Exactly. Because to me, she helped so many different people that people don't know about. Like, for instance, Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes, the day he left Leaders of the New School, no bullshit. The day he left Leaders of the New School, if I'm not mistaken, either 2 days after that or a week after that, Lisa had flew him to Atlanta to work with Drip Drop, her group she had. I don't know how much money she paid him. She gave him some money. He came and stayed with us for maybe like a couple of weeks, pumped out a bunch of records. I mean, these were jamming records too. It kind of would have been in that Black Moon type of feel, in that type of area. These
real
were
backpack.
dope, but
bangers.
Busta had some dope ass records. Shout out to Drip Drop, my whole Beef Platoon home.
So this is in between LONS and Whoa.
No, he left.
So yeah, he left LONS.
He left LONS
Yeah.
because he left LONS because it was bullshit. I think him and Charlie Brown got into it or whatever. So he came to Atlanta to work. But this was like the perfect time to come to Atlanta because just so happened Eric Sermon had just left EPMD and he moved to Atlanta. Too Short had just moved from Oakland. He moved to Atlanta. So now you have all this real, true, valid hip-hop synergy in this new city.
From all different regions.
From all different regions. So this was able to help people, do they thing. So then you had my boy G at the at the rim shop with Eric Sermon. Now they had a vibe where everybody was going and rapping. And then you had, I think Eric signed, what's my boy name? The most beautiful thing.
Keith Murray.
Keith Murray. And then Lisa found Illegal. See, a lot of people don't know that.
Really? She found Jamal and Malik.
Man, the story goes that Jamal, snuck down from Philly to try to perform for Eric and met Lisa. And Lisa was like, I'm going to sign you.
And he's like 15 years old type shit.
12,
Yeah,
13.
yeah, 12,
At the same time, Naughty by Nature comes on a tour. They're working at Darp Studios. Shout out to Dallas. This little dude from Hollywood, South Carolina, snuck on the bus. That's Malik. She put them both together, signed them, had Dallas do the deal because they were signing to Rowdy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She had them living with us, so we're all living out in like Smyrna in like these two-bedroom apartments or whatever together. But we're all there chilling. You want to know why? Because she's at Ray Rising house. So we literally got this apartment to ourselves, and we'll go over there and kick it and party. I remember I stayed over there for about 2-3 weeks one time. I seen so much shit from Tupac to Eric Sermon to Eric Breed and DFC. That probably was the best time of my life. First time I met Pimp C.
That sounds amazing.
So all that to me was kind of like the synergy of kind of like my start. So from that happening, I was seeing all these different entities start to happen. Busta started doing this thing. He really started, you know what I'm saying, going in with the music, producing other people, writing for other people. Eric Sermon and Too Short had this crazy new Kendrick
That
shit.
Buy You Some record is amazing.
Oh, that was huge.
Now it makes sense. They was in Atlanta because they had that dude, Cool Ace, Cool Mac and
Right,
Ace.
yep,
and
Cool Ace.
And I think MC Breed was on that record.
Yep.
So they had the Midwest.
MC
East
Breed
Coast.
was in Atlanta too.
Yeah, there you go.
And Pimp C was in Atlanta. UGK was in Atlanta
You
as
just
well.
added a crease in my cranium. Now I know the whole origins of the Buy You Some record.
Exactly. So this is why everybody was there. Freaknik, Black College, this new place that's untapped with talent that's already proven themselves. Because all these people were proving themselves in other regions. So it was easy to come here because people already had music on them from them being in EPMD and Oakland
Right.
And Leaders of the New School. And then, Fife was there. That was the missing piece. Fife was there. He was there as well. So you got Fife Dog, Eric Sermon, Busta Rhymes, Too Short, MC Breed, Pimp C stayed down there. This was like all the music synergy going around.
Right.
Puff was coming back and forth. This is what was going on. Dallas had his company, Dallas Austin, Dark Studios.
Of course.
My boys, HGL, formulated to their new company, which was called Noontime. Noonie, Ryan Glover, rest in peace, Shakir Stewart, and Chris Hicks. These guys end up doing a pub deal that created the Hitman with Puff.
That's insane.
You know what I'm saying? So Bad Boy and Noontime had the Hitman. You know what I'm saying? So it was their producers and they.
So a lot of this came from Atlanta. So Atlanta was already a power player in the industry way before people
but
wanted
it was
to give
formulating.
Right.
Because it was a new regime. LaFace was like the big thing. But all this under new things was starting to happen from Cass to, you know what I'm saying? Even Usher getting in the mix. All these other things were really starting to happen.
L.A. Reid being a prominent power player.
L.A. Reid was the player. He was the biggest thing in the city because at that time, Babyface was kind of doing this out, and he was going to go back to L.A. because he seen what LaFace was going to be. And he seen how hard, L.A. had worked. He's like, go ahead, run with it. So to him, it just really, it wasn't a trip to him. So you had the big LaFace, then you had So Def, then you had Dark, then you had Organized Noise, which are now all these new regimes that's really coming and helping boil the city.
And it's
really
not
making the sound.
And it's exactly. It's shaped because at a certain point, I'm pretty sure the people of Atlanta wanted more representation than just the. And I love the booty shaking music. Don't get it twisted, but they wanted their voice to be heard as well.
Right.
Not just like the texture of their sound or their image.
Well, I'm gonna keep it real. When you said something about Kilo Ali, he was somebody that really rode that fine line in doing gangster shit and doing booty shake shit. So it was like, and then this was also,
I love Kilo Ali.
Man,
Cocaine song. What?
Let me tell you.
Love in Your Mouth.
I'm gonna tell you a story.
Second best blowjob song of all time.
This is the greatest story ever. So, what'd you just say?
Love in Your Mouth.
Okay. So this is when Organized Noise decided to do a deal with Kilo. Now, at this time, Kilo was like the biggest thing on the underground of Atlanta.
Right.
But everybody in Atlanta knows Kilo is a party animal, and if he party hardy, he gonna flip out somehow, some way. So Organized Noise was really kind of, at this time, Oukast Goody Mob came out, so you would really think that he really understood the chance that necessarily he was having. You know what I'm saying? I want to say Organized maybe got a $10, $20 million deal from Interscope. I don't know, it was big numbers, whatever it was. The first artist that they wanted to put out was Kilo because they had nostalgia with Kilo. They grew up on him, so they was like,
That's what the streets of the A.
you know what I'm saying? So they wanted to give him a big platform to do it. Why did they do that? We did a weekend. Shout out to my boy Malik Levy. We did like a Beverly Hills Hollywood weekend, and it was like a whole press. BET was there, and we had a party. I want to say at like Cedric Sabalas' house or somebody, some big NBA player, and Kilo never showed to the album release party.
His own record.
Yeah, he was in Watts getting high, and they had to come find him, get him, just to even get him back to Atlanta. In my mind, I had never really understood like wanting to party that hardy. Like, you have an album release party in Beverly Hills and you from Bowen Homes. Like,
Yeah.
why the hell are you not at the party? But Kilo was just, that eccentric and couldn't be told. Like, to me, I know it's gonna sound crazy. Tyler, the Creator, has a lot of Kilo Ali in him. I know he might not know it.
You know what? You know what? I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do. I don't know if he knows that, but I totally get what you're saying. Like certain vocal like tones that he'll put out,
and then not giving a fuckness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because certain people you'll be like, oh man, I gotta worry about this or worry about this. Kilo is a person that I can remember that didn't give a fuck about what nobody
He reminded
said.
me. Pimp C reminded me of Kilo Ali a lot. You
Well,
know what I mean?
maybe early, but I think the originator of just that Southern country rap twang was really what Pimp really established. When you just heard them licks and that, you know what I'm saying?
Pimp C.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know who really has the Pimp C DNA? Big X the Plug.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, like, everybody from Texas.
Exactly.
You feel me? Yeah.
But I really just think
the
it's
direct.
the biggest thing. I know that I was just telling Keith, the biggest thing I like with Big X the Plug is one thing. Hey.
Yeah, exactly.
He says that before he says anything. To me, that's the hardest shit ever.
Big X, one of the doper of the young class.
And excuse me, and to me, he's somebody that really understands about involvement. It's another brother down there, like Marcus Clay. Mm-hmm. You heard of him? Mm-hmm. He's like DOC on steroids.
Marcus can spit.
You know what I'm saying? He can rap, but that to me, he's a real Dallas MC, like a DOC that really could flow and rhyme. But to me, you hear the Kendrick, you hear the Dre, like Marcus Clay is a real special dude. I ain't never met him before, but one day I got in a rabbit hole and just listened to like all his music and was just like, dang, why is this dude bigger? But the thing about it is that in this day and age, people are scared of things too great because if they know they not even on the same level, it's like, they're going to have a shot. You know what I mean?
Of course, they want to lower the standards
Exactly.
so they make it easier for them.
Same reason why I think Tierra Whack is not the biggest real female rapper.
Oh,
in the
she's
world.
incredible. When she put out that video series, it was like it was a video. It was like 13 minutes long, and it had a bunch of different records.
Yes, because they was all a minute.
Yeah, exactly. It was like The Mind of Tierra Whack. I think it was called that. I was like, this chick is about to be up out here. But I feel like right now, Doechie's got that energy.
Yeah, Doechie definitely got that. She got that energy with that, and then to me, she kind of gives me rebel rock.
Yeah, that
rock.
too.
You know what I'm saying?
That too. And she got a fat ass.
You know what I mean? And
that's a whole other story.
And she really makes, to me, I'm one of those type of people that really have no problem in keeping it real. And I know that the more the melanin, the better. So women that are very dark to me, I can do nothing but just stare at you for like the rest of life and want to. Because I know you're going to give me a Biggie. You're going to give me Walter Payton. You're going to give me Jim Brown. You're going to give me something that's going to be amazing because you got all that strong power in you, baby. You know what I'm saying? So,
Facts. Facts. There's something, and it does lead to the extra grippy. I don't know. I don't know.
So I don't want to get. I want to get back to us speaking about Lisa. So
Yeah.
for me, once we met and I got to Atlanta, I didn't really think that, I just thought that whole situation that happened at Magic Mountain was just like God's gift.
Right.
I really didn't think I was ever going to see her again. I wasn't trying to look.
This
people,
isn't the days of social media. So
and we from LA, so
Right.
a person to have a day crazy where you see like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then you go back to the hood. You know what I mean? And, oh shit, I just seen him. So you ain't never even worry about it. So it was nothing that ever crossed my mind. And at this time, everything is out. Baby, I'm no. Ain't Too Proud to Beg is like the biggest record in the world. I think Baby might have just started playing on the radio and they was about to go. Because I think.
What About Your Friends was the next one, I think.
Yeah, What About Your No, What About Your Friends was third, I think.
Yeah, I want to say that was third.
That was third. So
after Baby.
I think around that time she, because they went to Howard. I got a chance to go to Howard with them and like be an extra on, that video she shot.
And they
KP.
did this theme song for All That. That's what it was around.
Yes,
that was like a big
that was a
catalyst
big
for them.
thing, and that had them everywhere too, because they did a whole little video for it too. TLC was everywhere at that point. But again, that just lets you know the last thing I'm thinking is that if I see her again, she's gonna remember.
Right.
So me and my god brothers Brian and Brandon, Jagged Edge, and my boy Tattoo. I want to say Big Duke from Boys in the Hood. I want to say this might have been my sophomore or junior year at Clark, and no, it was my freshman year, and the twins and them was still in high school. They hadn't even graduated high school yet. They were still at Redan, and we go sneak into this club, like down in the downtown of Atlanta. And literally sneak through the kitchen or whatever. And when I get in there, I'm already thinking in my head, we look hella young. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
y'all can't get kicked out.
We can't get kicked out, so we got to stay low. So I'm trying to stay low. I think I see Tattoo or Duke rolling up. So I'm like, bro, we not even supposed to be in here. Like, what is you doing? Bruh, chill out. So as I'm saying that, I hear somebody screaming my name, BJ. Like, that's what people, at that time, it was no Poon, it was just BJ. BJ. So I look up, and I think Brandon or Brian was like, hey, she talking to you or whatever. And I looked up, it was Lisa. So I seen Lisa, we go over there, I'm talking to her, she's like, where you been? I was like, you remember me?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You like, for real? So she like, yeah. We go over there, she let us all come over there, we go in the VIP, we kicking it. At this time, like, to me, it was like a movie.
Yeah.
Literally, because in this VIP, I seen Dion, Dominique Wilkins, Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston. I don't know. No, LA, I think might have been there, but who else was big around that time? Whitney Houston was there. Somebody else was a couple other maybe NBA stars and other singers. Oh yeah, Sherelle.
Wow.
It was really like
Vanessa
oh my God,
Williams,
like
Shanice, all that
what
stuff.
where am I at? So that right there pretty much established her telling me, you need to come work for me. And I
Whitney Houston is crazy.
And I didn't really know, Well,
That's
she was with Bobby. Everywhere Bobby went, she was there. And at this time, I didn't even know they had a studio, because the old Oukast studio now used to be Bobby Brown's studio. It's called Bosstown. So this
that became the dungeon? Or?
No, that became Stankonia.
Oh.
Yeah, Stankonia is the old. The dungeon was on at Rico Mom's house, and then kind of like when everything started happening, they bought this house that was Hank Aaron's old house, or across the street from Hank Aaron's old house in Southwest Atlanta. It was like the big White House, and so everything happened there from
A lot of hits.
a lot of hits and a lot of fun. Suave House, Organized Weekend, Bad Boy Organized Weekend, football, basketball. This is where I seen Mace almost get his ankles broke because Moan from the Dungeon family dunked on him. You know what I'm saying? It was just all type of stuff that, to me, if you was in there and was in the mix, it was there. Like Biggie sitting smoking with you on the what's that, on the Grand National, chilling at the Dungeon. Like, this was like, see Total there. Shout out to Total and all the street team that Bad Boy had then. But it was just so much current fluidity, you know what I mean? And this was outside of Freaknik, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and okay, so I'm glad you brought it up. These are two questions because there's so much. I feel like we're gonna need to make this like a fucking 3-part interview, bro, because there's so much. One thing I really want to ask you about before we get into Freaknik, because I know that you've seen some shit, is, you know, there's a lot of controversy with Lisa and like her relationship with Andre Rison and all that. Like, were you privy to all that? Did you see that?
Yeah, man. But like I said, in anything, man, it was love, you know. And when you have young love and young people with power and you know amped up with alcohol or vices or everything, sometimes people make bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? And that's actually what happened from the house catching on fire to them fighting to Lisa trying to chase him and you know catch girls in the club. It was just some real in your face regular relationship shit. But it was just they was two superpowers, and at that time people hadn't seen it. Now it's like a every given thing. Like
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a norm. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
But they was the first people to actually do it. So when you seen it happen, it was this girl's crazy, this, that, and that. Lisa was far from crazy. If anything, she was really, really special. You know what I'm saying?
Passionate.
You know what I mean? Extremely passionate, like anybody else would. When you move from another city on a chance to do something, leave your family, you know what I'm saying? Your father passed, your all this different thing happening to make it happen, and you actually make it. You're gonna feel some type of way, and you're in the biggest group in the world. Like, come on, man, like that. It's gonna happen to anybody. You know what I'm saying? So, if you go have 3, 4 #1 records, and you was just living at your auntie's, or I guarantee you, auntie, don't call me no more. You're gonna have a whole new Lush. Call my assistant. Like you're gonna be given something else. Why? Because you now have that. You feel like I've done it, so you want people to give you that same recognition. And I just think that was more or less what Lisa's thing was, is that she just wanted people to know that I'm just not like a rapper in a group. I'm a A&R, I'm an executive, I'm a stylist, I'm a visionary. I'm somebody that can do anything because I have so many, you know, talents. You know what I mean?
And it's funny because, like, I feel like she deserves a lot more flowers for all those things, but also as an MC, because she has some of the most memorable verses. I mean, that Waterfalls verse to this day, you know what I mean?
Say
Like,
what, say what, say what.
Yeah,
Still,
yeah,
that's one of the kids, man. That right there, Donnell Jones, still to this day, he said, I remember he said he thought about it at first, like, I don't know if I want Lisa on this record. When she got on the record, he just shut up. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. But Lisa was definitely an underrated MC. And
that
even
voice.
even when you hear records like Ladies Night with all them girls on it, she still killing, you know what I mean? Brat busting on there too, but Lisa still held her own along on there with, you know, Angela Martinez and, you know what I mean, everybody else that was on the
Lil'
record.
Kim,
You feel me? She did her thing and she stood tall and still got one of the coldest verses on the song. So,
No, for
you know
sure.
what I mean?
Like, she could, that's the thing. She really rapped for real. And I feel like a lot of the cadence of the era of the early to mid 90s was based on her bounce.
Exactly.
A lot of her flow got utilized on all kinds of different records. I'm not sure how many of them were. It damn near sounded like she wrote some of the other records.
Right.
You feel
Well,
me?
she co-wrote a lot of songs, and there was a lot of other records that, because I think it took a while, but Dallas started letting her really appreciating her songwriting skills too. But you know,
yeah, exactly. Because at first I know they were more rigid with it.
Yeah,
It's crazy when you look like these are songs that have some of the most memorable earworm melodic, catchy hooks in history, but the most memorable part of a lot of TLC records are Lisa's 16s.
Yes, and definitely it is. So I just think, just like anything, when you're so talented at so many things, something is going to overshadow the other thing. And I just think for her, like I say, you can't really pinpoint just one thing. You just know that she was a being, and she was special, and she was somebody that I just thank God every day that I actually got a chance to meet her and hang with her and chill and, you know, go out of town with her and do just a bunch of stuff that she let me do. She didn't have to. I didn't know this girl from nowhere. She didn't have to do anything, but that just lets me know what type of heart she had, because she did it for so many different people. Shout out to my girl Trinae too. You know what I'm saying? South Georgia. That's one of the girls that really like held her down in jail, and then she ended up giving her a job, You know what I'm saying? You probably see her on the Ladies Night commercial. You know,
Yeah,
her
yeah.
cousin Tangi, a lot of different people that was like in the mix that people didn't really kind of want or why they around Lisa, and she made sure that she had something for them so that people couldn't even say nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's shouts to one of the goats. You feel me? Long live.
Yeah, I got
Long
it right
live.
here forever, brother. You know what I mean?
No, she's and the fact that you were able to witness this greatness and somehow be a part of it with your because I feel like you remind me of myself, like in the sense that I feel like we've been a part of a lot of history. We've been right there, and people might not necessarily be sure
Right.
exactly what we did. And you feel me? Say Beetlejuice 3 times. You
Exactly.
feel me? I'm not gonna tell you what the fuck I did, but
You'll
though,
know, you'll hear about it. But
yeah.
I'm one of those type of people, and I say it, and I think my mama told me a long time is that I have the gather and the talk to be able to inspire almost on some preacher type because everybody that I necessarily started with, except for Lisa, I was like, you can do this because it was always doubt from Ludacris, Chains to Bobby V to even Jagged Edge. Like it was questions at some point if they could really do it. And I'm like, bro, if I like you, you gotta really be the shit. Cause I'm not gonna like nothing that's not the shit. I'm gonna tell you it's not it. You could be better. You need a producer. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you know.
Right.
And to me, Chris, at the time that we was on the radio, Ludacris, he was my favorite rapper instantly when I really heard him rap. You know what I'm
And
saying?
I was gonna ask you about Mr. Bridges. So what's your? I know y'all had the show together.
Yes, yes.
How did you? What's your first meeting of this short, light skinned dude from Chicago?
Hey man, he was actually coming to the radio station. I started interning at the station maybe like a few months before he came up there. I want to say maybe like 3-4 months or whatever. Me and Shaka was working there. Shaka Zulu, who manages
Yeah.
Chris now. He had an evening show. He was doing college radio while we was in college. So when the new radio station that Kathy Hughes came, she started wanting to hire young people that's already familiar in the city. So she hired Shaka Zulu because he was on the college station. I got the only reason I got a chance to go up there is because my roommate met the music director, a brother by the name of Jason Staten, and Jason was not very keen and not really a type of person that was very inviting to a lot of people. So he didn't really have or know the key players in Atlanta.
Right.
And he needed to know that to be the music director. So what I did was is get with him and I just start taking him around, introducing him to everybody. So within a week's time and us building, I had pretty much done took him everywhere from him not even being able to get into Dallas Austin studio to him walking right in the studio, talking to Dallas, to walking right in LaFace, going right into LA's office. Like I really, because he didn't know who I was. He didn't
Right.
know I was already kind of in this mix. So with me walking in, it's making me even look better because I'm like, oh, this is the new music director of that new rap station. What? How'd you?
Right.
What's up, man? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of was a plus and a plus. So once Jason seen that, he was like, yo, you want to be my intern? And I remember I told him, fuck you. I ain't about to be no intern, nigga. I'm a crib. I remember. Because to me, intern really meant like go for,
Right.
you know, go do some bullshit.
Store runner. He
You know
called
what I
you a
mean?
store
Like,
runner.
I'm one of those type of people that girls used to hate because they would be eating something, be like, oh, this so good, you want something? No, that's all yours. I don't want nothing that's yours. I only
Yeah.
want what's mine.
Yeah.
I don't really need to have your shit or nothing. I just really want what's mine.
strictly
Because
gang
I
out
know,
here.
because I know I got something for me. You know what I mean? Because I know how hard I work. So I'm one of those type of people that really sought after kind of being me. So he was trying to sell me on how cool it would be to be an intern, and I'm just looking like, bro, that ain't no money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm in college. I need to have the transition. So then he explained to me, you're gonna get money. You just have to do this, do that, so people know you're for real. This, that, and the third. So the first thing I think he asked me to do was like put in alphabetical order, like 1,000 records or something.
Yeesh.
Bro, I left. I was like, I was gonna fire on him and I left. So I went back to my dorm room. I talked to my roommate and somebody else, and then I talked to Lisa. And Lisa was like, you need to go back up there. And I was like, why? She said, because he's not having you do that to pump
ABBA,
you.
ACDC,
He's having
Arrested Development.
He's having you do it so he can see your dedication.
Yeah.
Let you know if you're somebody he can trust. He don't know you. So if you ain't gonna take the time to put together these records and music, then you're in the music. Then you definitely ain't gonna take the time to do the other shit. And I was like, damn. So the
You're
next
trying to
day,
gauge your character.
so the next day I went back up there like, oh, you know, I had like a button up, whatever. Man, I'm sorry, Jason. I was tripping. I was hard. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I knew you was coming back. So I put all the records together. And in that time of me putting the records together, of course, we bonded. We talked about so many different records. He was talking to me about the whole Detroit scene. That's when I first heard about groups like, was it Top Authority and Jake the Flake and DFC.
Detroit's Most
You know
Wanted.
what I'm saying? And who else? What's my other dude name? It was another dude named, Jake the Flake. And who else? It was another big dude around that time
Isham,
too.
King Gordy.
Yep, all those different guys. So this was like early 90s Detroit, Flint, Michigan, real gangster hip hop. And I didn't even know about
Dayton Family.
Dayton Family was the shit.
They're
I
hard
love
as
Dayton
I
Family.
still fuck with Dayton.
So Jason put me on all that, kind of hit me to it, and this started the kindership. Well, of me working at the station, I think I was there maybe 3 or 4 months, and in that 3 or 4 months, Chris came. He knocked on the door at the radio station. It was after hours. He knocked for maybe like 20 minutes. I went and opened the door. He was like, my name is Ludacris. I rap. I got my CD.
Okay, so he was trying to rap before he had.
Yes.
Okay.
The whole reason he came to the radio station was to get somebody to listen to his music or see how he can get his music on the radio.
Okay, because I thought that he had gotten known from doing like weekly freestyles, or he would freestyle about the news on the radio.
No,
he was already rapping before that.
He was already rapping in high school. DTP was the name of his group, Disturbing the Peace.
Was
It
Four
wasn't
Eyes a
labeled.
part of that too?
Four Eyes was a part of the loudmouth hooligans in Champaign, Illinois. That's where Oak Park, Illinois, because that's where they from. So Four Eyes grew up with Chris in Chicago. So
Another insanely underappreciated rapper.
man, Four Eyes was probably one of the dopest, especially off the top freestylers that I've ever met. Tony Hayes, he's the Sausage King. We call him Tony.
You feel me?
From
Tony Purple. First,
no, but we call him the from what is it, Ferris Bueller?
Yeah.
The Sausage King.
Yeah.
So that's what we call.
No, he got bars about that.
Yeah, he raps about it all
He
the
said,
time.
Tony Purple, my last name gotta be Hayes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So him and his brother number two, them and Chris, they all grew up together. They was rapping, and that's when Chris' name was Chris Kringle. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say he moved to Atlanta maybe like junior high or ninth
Can
grade.
you
or something.
find me a copy of the first Four Eyes mixtape? I cannot find it. It's erased from the internet.
What I will do is put you with my brother Khalil Gibran and Four Eyes, and Four Eyes will probably get you one for
I
sure.
need that so bad.
For
with
sure.
That, you feel me? Saturday night, you feel me? All that.
Was you a Fireman fan too?
Fireman was, of course. Of course.
Him and Tech Money from Real World.
Yes.
So
yes.
Khalil is in.
I fucks with Tech. Bro.
Khalil is that the dude Khalil I'm talking about was in the Fireman too. So that whole thing synergy all came together because of me. Because all those were my friends. Four Eyes was my friend. Khalil was my friend from school, and Tech was my friend because I met him when he first was in Atlanta and got on the Real World.
I thought that when my hip hop brain had me convinced for a long time that Four Eyes was writing a lot of Ludacris's bars.
Never.
I know. I realize that now. And Luda stood on his own.
The crazy thing about Chris and just that era of hip hop, that was pre being cool written for. That came after.
For sure.
Like I know people that had hit records and they didn't have the hit record because somebody else wrote it and they felt stupid after the fact.
But
that's how
there was
sick
also though Dr. Dre, had DOC and Ice Cube.
Well, Dr. Dre wasn't never a rapper. He was a producer. So I'm talking about people that are actually rappers,
MCs,
freestyle MCs, somebody that's really gonna go and battle somebody else, and they come from that era. It just, you know what I mean? Even for the guy Cap One.
Yeah.
Cap One, is from the same.
Chicago Cap one, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
he is from the same era with Chris and them too. Like he came up with them too. I think.
Yeah.
I want to say he was like the youngest.
Yeah, he is a little bit younger than them.
Well,
for sure.
he was like the youngest dude around them that actually had a deal because I think he had a deal at like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
And somehow, some way, him and Young Berg, Hitmaker, are related.
He from out there too. And,
Yeah.
Okay, this is maybe you could shed some light, and I think I already know the answer, but haven't really heard this discussed that much. What is it that all these Chicago people? Is it just because there was no industry out there? Why'd they all move to Atlanta? Ludacris, Four Eyes, DeBrat, like all these people.
Well, I think it was, you had the Chicago scene with, people like
Twisters, Beat Not Mobsters,
Twisters,
Crucial Conflicts.
and from Dion, No ID, and
No ID,
Trackster, and all these different people. But I think realistically is that it wasn't a real hub. You know what I'm saying? And just like LA, the gangbanging was so on another level, it kind of made it even more dangerous to promote.
Right.
So that's another reason why. And it was a way for people to kind of go create their lane because we took Shauna. We signed Shauna and moved her to Atlanta.
Is she from Chicago too?
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
There you
yeah,
go. That's
yeah,
another
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Like
That's Buddy Guy's daughter,
the whole
blues singer.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
she real Chicago.
Oh,
Chicago
yeah,
blues.
100%,
Yeah,
yeah.
I forget her too. She's another sick female artist.
Man,
And-
see,
but it makes sense though because, like you said, LA too banged out, too many extorters. We not gonna come out here.
and the
then
art,
New York is a bunch of fucking haters.
exactly. I think the artistic value kind of went left when I told you kind of like when people was looking like if you too hip hop or too into the music, then you kind of look, you're a bumper head or
Yeah.
you're a backpack. You know what I mean? That kind
square.
of persona just came, so people just wanted to kind of make it seem like and make it feel like it was just a lick. Oh, I'm just doing the music. I'm gonna just do some bullshit music and keep it going. So that's what it kind of felt like. And then you got other people that was like, fuck that, I'm gonna really rap. You know what I mean? When you get the Crooked Eyes and Raz Kazzes and
Yeah.
it was like, fuck that, I'm here for the MC show. You know what I'm saying?
1,000%. Like I feel like at a certain point, and you definitely saw the shift in real time before your very eyes. People started to value the image and just being, and then it was just whoever the cool dope dealer or gangbanger was, he gonna rap. But it was like you said, it wasn't cool to actually care.
Right.
And I think to a degree that still lingers.
Yeah, definitely. Because like anything, once it gets commercialized, man, then you get the big money on it. So once the money comes, fuck the artistic value. We need to sell it because it's making money. So for those people that run up under that, I feel you, do it. But there's some people, like a brother named Andre Benjamin, that you can't pay him nothing to do it. Simply why? Because his heart has to be in it. Same as a person like Prince. Same as a person like Michael Jackson. When you have people that have true spirit of artistic know-it-all or how it's supposed to work and what you're supposed to feel like to make something special, you can't force them to do it. It has to happen. You know what I'm saying? And that just goes across the board. You could talk about people like Sam Cooke and Bobby Womack,
Bill Withers.
all these different great musicians and players and different stuff like that. But you knew it was authentic when you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? When you was talking about you get the goosebumps. You get the goosebumps because you actually know it's honestly authentic and it really comes from a good place. They're not trying to sell you on some bullshit.
Right.
They're not trying to sell you just because she's cute and she got a fat ass and she talking about I eating another girl pussy. Like, come on, I mean, that's where's you?
There's Pornhub for that.
Why can't you rap too? If you
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, bust and still do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the thing, because I don't. Again, the over sexualized type of shit. I love the sexy girls, but to the kids that's coming up, basically it's gonna be like, I'm gonna hoe in the music business instead of hoeing on Figueroa. And to me, that's really what fucks it up, because you don't have to hoe at all, baby.
Right.
Especially if you dope.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and shout out to sisters like Yo-Yo and, that came up in that whole era.
MC Light.
Queen Latifah, Moni Love, all those sisters that really put integrity and MC skills over, trying to show their ass. And the cold thing about it is most of them were still freaks.
Yeah,
But they just
exactly.
necessarily knew how to be discreet and handle
Those incense
themselves.
burning girls are the freakiest, to be honest with you.
Come on,
You
bro.
feel me?
They ain't got no drawers on her bra.
Yeah, exactly.
They just drop off. They just ready to
Exactly.
go
Yeah,
already,
bent
greased
over.
up
Yeah, yeah.
with the shine oil on. Ready.
No, straight up. though.
So
Straight up.
definitely, bro.
And it's also like, talking about Lisa, I feel like she created the archetype, and not just for all the TLC, of the singing, the singing along with rapping that led to the Lauryn Hills.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Lauren to me took true musicianship from a female perspective and blended it with real hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So to me, she just did something that a lot of the guys do, but the way that she did it, she branded it to where it almost felt like Quincy was on this project because of the music, musicality she used. Because fucking with Wyclef,
That's
already knew
Wyclef
what it
and
was.
Jerry
You know
Wonder,
what I mean?
yeah.
So they all knew, but they ain't even really worked on that album. But I'm just saying her ear was trained to.
Right.
And she also came from church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I remember seeing Lauryn Hill like 13, 14 at an NAACP rally in Philly singing.
That's
like,
crazy.
God Bless the Child. And
Wow.
I'm like, who is this little funny looking girl? And she killed everybody there. So I kind of already knew, she was coming or whatever. Like she was definitely gonna be something special. But again, she just still has something that I think is unmatched. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. And there's so much more to discuss. Unfortunately, like how long we been going, Mango?
2 hours, man. He's
we,
about to leave, man.
we gonna spin the block and do a part 2 of you
Yes,
down.
definitely. And we're going to get Brick here, too, because
Oh
we're
yeah.
gonna talk shit
We
'cause he ain't here.
we gonna
We
have
gonna
break.
talk. Shout out to Brick Baby, man. What's
Shouts
up,
to my
Hudson?
brother. You feel me? I'm gonna see him tomorrow. With that being said, you had a gripe with something that I said.
Okay. So,
Talk your shit, player. The floor is yours.
but you just said that you maybe didn't say that. But I seen a clip that DeMizza had, and you were basically
you got me fucked up.
saying that compared to Missionary, which is the new Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg release, you have heard records that sound as good or maybe even better that you felt like seemingly didn't get the same attention.
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't think the album is getting that much attention. It's like a commercial failure if you really look at it.
In a sense.
You're talking about two of the biggest artists of all time.
Right.
Now, what Day One said made a lot of sense. He's like, a lot of artists that are legacy artists, and there's not too many people that have legacies that are even comparable to people of Snoop and Dr. Dre. They're not making this album for commercial appeal. They're not making this album. They're doing it because they might get grandfathered into the Grammy that they got snubbed for 20 years ago.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
There might be certain sync and licensing plays. There might be other things that they're working on. But as a sonic piece of work that's going to last, although it's dope, it's not really moving the needle like that. When I think back of the last time, like Snoop Dogg really, I want to say the Blue Carpet Treatment album, which was when, 2008 maybe, around that time.
Yep.
Boss's Life, all that. I feel like that's the last time where we were hearing Snoop Dogg's music while it was new and fresh outside. Dre, it's been fucking decades. We're still waiting for the detox. My comment was that Kendrick's album, essentially, GNX is very close to what we wanted the detox to be. In the sense
That's kind
that
of hard, though.
it is, but here's the thing. It featured a lot of West Coast artists, shed light on them, had a whole narrative interwoven with master production. That's what we wanted from Dre. Now, I believe that standard, that's not quite of what we wanted from Detox, but it's way closer than Missionary.
I got you, but to somebody that really, get it and see it, I just don't ever really see where Dr. Dre is and what's the name is going to get called out to do a song with Sting. But now, you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So I think the collaboration level is next level because they're dwelling into an audience that don't rush. The 40 plus audience don't go get it the first couple of months. But over a year, the album that flop might be triple platinum. Why?
This is true.
Because you had a way to break it. The one plus side that they do have is that Amazon, I think, bought the master to it and now has it available for Amazon Prime members already streamed on your thing. So they still
Also, they
make-
run in the YouTube finesse bundle in order to fucking fabricate sales.
But it ain't gonna fabricate sales. It's just gonna be available for, because here's the thing. This is what you got to think
They
about.
forcing that
Hold
shit
on,
on
hold on.
the player.
Here's you think about it. If you don't like Snoop and Dre, you don't have to listen to it. It's still gonna get streamed off of what is listened to. I think it brings them into a grown-up audience. Because guess what? I ain't seen black people older at a Coldplay concert until I got older.
Fact.
When I was younger, I didn't even really know about Coldplay like that. But when I got a chance to really go and see Chris Martin and hear it and see it, and I see all these black dudes, I'm like, what the hell are you hearing?
Jay-Z made me a fan. I can't lie.
But at the end of the day, Yellow made me a fan.
Yeah, there you go.
But here's the thing for me. I just think it's about being real with yourself. And if we think a 50 and a 60-year-old is really going to trend high on the streets at this level, I don't see it. But I can see them trending high in the stock market, in Starbucks, and they might make it to Yacht Rock. You
So
feel
this
what I'm
isn't
saying?
Rollin' Sexy.
I definitely think. That's why they have a movie that's coming out with it. And just think the whole premise. Think about it. Stop it. The reason why they're not gangster no more, because they vigilantes, right? Mm-hmm. Why they vigilantes? Because they can't be gangster at 50 and 60 years old. They got grandkids. So
Well, they can't even hit it from the back anymore. They got sciatic nerve problems.
But
so they have to have missionary sex.
they
now.
still could go and hide and put on masks and go do off with the scum of the earth and don't nobody know about
I
it.
fuck with that.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I think
Conceptually.
for a lot of people, they kind of missed it. They was just looking for it to be Gen X, and I don't think it was ever supposed to be Gen X. It was supposed to be the grown version. Why you think it's called Missionary?
No, I get that. And when you put
You know
it like
what I
that,
mean?
you break it down really, really eloquently.
Yes.
But it's like I look at
Because you still look, but the thing about it is that you still can tap in with an audience. But there is an audience that's over 40, that's not yet 60, that has their own vibe, and they probably will never be where the Gen X crowd would be.
right. But here's where it fucked up for me, and you're making great points. I can't lie. Here's I think what fucked it up is because of the expectation. Because Dre has
Dre
not
and
put
Snoop.
out. Yes, Dre and Snoop. These are like my two fucking heroes. This is Batman and Batman. Ain't no Robin. You feel me? Like these are them dudes.
Okay.
My 5th grade, I performed nothing but a G thing with my homie at the 5th grade talent show type shit.
Exactly.
You feel me? Like these are my heroes. Now, we look at NWA, we look at the Chronic, we look at the Chronic 2001, we look at the Eminem's first 2 records, and we look at Get Rich or Die Trying, and that insane run.
So, so here we go. Cube. So the Cube's album is the most incredible shit ever.
Yeah, of course, that too. You feel me?
You know what I'm saying? That's how
Oh
you
no,
feel the
New
new one?
Cube, New Cube album is ass, bro.
Where is that? It's
It's ass.
no, I'm saying with the Missionary Cube.
As far as I would say, Missionary way better than Cube's new shit. Yeah.
But the point of it is that even on Cube's album, it's a grown work. My ego, like only grandfathers talk about stuff. These guys are grandfathers. I know what you want to see.
They're my grandfather.
But we have to be reality though. Like everything grows. It's almost like going to, God rest his soul, Frankie Beverly. But the last 15 years of Frankie Beverly concert, he couldn't even sing. You just
Right.
went to sing along. So you went to sing along and supported it every time you went. Why? Because it's the whole point of seeing him and getting that feel. It's the same thing with Dre and Snoop. They gave you something, and Snoop actually had writers and people that, I mean, Dre was like he has different cadences and doing different like everything is different and special and still dope. So that's why, to me, I really felt pleasure because I'm like, Snoop is really trying.
No, he is trying,
You know
and
what I
he's
mean?
rapping
Like-
his ass off. He is, and honestly, like, here's the thing about it, right? I think I have more of a problem with Dre's name being attached to it because Snoop has consistently put out music.
Right,
you know
right.
what I mean?
Right.
And Snoop is like, if Snoop makes a good song, I'm not gonna be surprised.
But you still looking for the, them
I have
killer
such high standards for his
Dre Day? You looking for a Dre Day verse, huh?
for Dre Day, bro. I'm looking for one.
You
two,
get-
three. I'm looking.
But here you
nothing
go.
but a G thing.
I can't give you a verse, but what it sound like.
Fair enough. But here's the thing: like when that first, when that Compton album came out, which really was the soundtrack to NWA.
Wow.
I think the biggest disservice of that project was calling it a Dr. Dre album.
Right.
Because now it's like we're judging, because I judge Dr. Dre albums because the only Dr. Dre albums that have ever come out are amongst the best records in hip hop history. And if you're not meeting that mark, I'm going to be disappointed.
Well, that was in the deal. Dre, we got to get an album from you for the soundtrack.
For sure.
If you're gonna give me, so that was all a ploy, and he can get it off because it was the first time he really did a movie soundtrack. Well, murder was the case.
Yeah, exactly. Then murder was the case.
Excuse me. Yeah, murder was the case, but it still wasn't just all Dre.
And was he involved in Above the Rim, or is that more like Warren G and them?
That was a Death Row soundtrack.
Yeah, that was a Death Row sound.
I think they was on the outs. So
Yeah.
you had people like Warren G produced on it, DJ Quick, Daz.
The
a lot of the
usual suspects
a lot
from
of,
Death Row.
a lot of the Death Row team members. I think Johnny J maybe.
Right.
There was a bunch of people on there, but
And I hate being someone to speak up against my forefathers and legends. So I ain't trying to be that guy.
I just think you gotta
But-
sometimes just delve into reality. Like for it to give you the same feeling that it gave you 25 or 30 years ago, I just think it's kind of your the expectations is kind of high. You know what I'm saying?
And it's because I know for a motherfucking fact that there are versions of the Detox that'll never see the light of day. There's probably a couple thousand songs that if you gave me access to the vault, I could put together an album by what he recorded that probably go way crazier.
But it wouldn't be him, so it wouldn't even be the same thing. It would be Lush version of what Dre's did. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like the beats that you hear that DJ Khalil and Focus do when Dre is not there is not the same beats that you hear when he has a chance to pick them, do this, give it. You know what I'm saying? So it's really you still getting the school of Dre because he still has his producers, Focus, Dim Joints, Khalil, who else? Everybody over there. All them niggas is dope. And to me, when you ask for Dre, you're not necessarily asking for him to do the beat. You're asking for him to put his.
Yeah, exactly. He's a real producer, like in the Quincy Jones sense of the word. Yeah,
he's going to orchestrate it because a lot of people don't understand. Producers are just people that pull and grit. A lot of producers don't even play or can't even play that well, but they're going to get the best players.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're going to get the best songwriters. They're going to get the best arrangers because they're going to make sure that this thing is produced to be immaculate. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times people really don't understand what that means. And I think that is what it did because right now, even I still listen to Missionary. I listened to it this morning.
I'm going to give it another spin. As of now, I'm very underwhelmed
Maybe
by it.
Maybe go to Joshua Tree or something. Go on a ride with it. Because the first time I think I heard it, I was on mushrooms and I felt like I was like in another world for real. And I was at the studio too. So
when I listen to Snoop, I usually want to be on 2-1 and Lewis. You feel me over there in the beach side over there, but we gonna take it to Joshua Tree and see what the fuck is really going on.
Good, man. You know, good.
If I need mushrooms to enjoy the album, that doesn't speak well of it, but we gonna give it a chance. With that being said, before we end this pod, we're gonna need to spin the block, bring Brick, and do this again. I play this game. This podcast is called "You Lied to Me, Lush." So I play a game with every person that comes on here called Two Truths and a Lie. You tell me 3 statements, 2 of them true, 1 of them's false, and I have to guess which one is the lie.
Okay. I once hosted Oukast and Ludacris' tour, Stank Love. That's one. The second one, I used to wear my shoes with no shoelaces because I really wanted to be like the Fat Boys when I was little. So I would have like all my shoes with, you know what I'm saying?
No laces.
No laces. And I'm walking around LA with no laces.
Like Cool Rock Ski.
And when the enemy come or somebody tripping, I'm always running out my shoes because I ain't got no laces.
But they ain't red or blue, so you
some-
can't bang on me.
They definitely was just red or blue.
Yeah.
Okay, the third one, let me see. I played in high school with Keyshawn Johnson, football.
Okay. I'm going to have to say that the last one, the Keyshawn Johnson one, is the lie. Because he's younger.
No.
That was the truth? The Fat Boys is a lie.
Hell yeah, you ain't running around LA with no laces in your shoes, bro. You gonna die, man. Hell, and I do karate, so I gotta be able to kick you with my shoes. Yeah,
That's what confused me, though, because I feel like karate masters be barefoot sometimes.
Nah,
like,
but that's the thing. That's how you can break your foot. If you got some cool shoes on or something with a hard grip, I used to have like K-Swiss on and all that. You know, them thick bottoms. You know,
Yeah.
Kick somebody's whole head off. Keyshawn graduated in 1991. I graduated in 92. I played at Dorsey with him.
That's dope. That's dope. I thought,
he's a year older than me, actually. So
this is my the first person to stump me on Truth and a Lie. That's a legendary clip right there. With that being said, any final words for the people before we Skype out?
Man, Dogg World, you know, you call yourself Lush World, call it Dogg World. And I got a show that I'm going to need you to come on, me and my partners.
Easy call.
Tonto and Big Sin in Leimert Park. It's called Soul Sonic Force. Some dope shit. It's in Leimert. We got
Love
a
it.
dope-ass set, so I'm going to have you come through. We're going to be kicking off soon, so you know what I'm saying?
You already know I'm through that motherfucker. With that being said, like, share, subscribe, drop some comments, what you want us to talk about when we spin the block, because we going to have a part 2 of this one right here.
Back, baby.
Come on, man. And we about this biatch out this biatch.